Alright, so here we go, guys. We are underway, and you might recognize the voices just a little bit different today. I am Andrew Guy. I'm filling in for my good friend Rich Slayton here, who has been doing a great job casting No Tilt for my boys Manu and Koji, of course. So here we go. We got a couple CRLs, you know, all-stars, vets, people that have been hanging out for a while, and their teammates here, Trainer Pegasus and Ali. Argentina at the bottom of your screen. We got Nicaragua at the top. Both these squads looking to start their, I guess, season in here at No Tilt. Start their run here off right. It was nice to pick up that win to start. So Graveyard coming down early on here from the Nicaraguans. Lumberjack in the back there doing a great job cleaning up. Going to create some nice counter push and also help out with that giant. Lumberjack gets out front, which is really nice there. Some people saying the game sounds too loud, some's too high, so we're going to have to figure that out here. Royal Giant coming out here for the bottom of your screen. Going to get a couple shots in. Prince there in a minute. Ewa's going to slow that Prince charge down, and Baby Dragon going to help out. Another Royal Giant comes out right away, and this is going to be a really nice counter push. Just keeping up that pressure. Ewa's helping out with that stun, getting some nice shots in, and Firecracker. An interesting card in 2v2 because of the, obviously, King Tower activation, but, of course, going to do a great job cleaning up all those splash troops. So Lumberjack not able to get in front of that Firecracker. Caught by those skellies. Maybe a little bit aggressive. The Giant now getting down once again for the Argentinians, but excuse me. Bomb Tower a little far away. Not going to pick up the aggro from that Prince, but going to be there to meet up with that Giant. Now resetting the Princess Tower by pulling that Giant back. Really, really good job there. Now the Princess Tower is going to focus on the skeletons as opposed to the tank, which is what you do need to do. But you also got to make sure you take out the tank, so the Giant's going to get on through, and that should probably do it here. Those Giant hits going to come in. Not enough in the tank for the bottom of your screen, and Tommy and Trainer Pegasus going to pick up game number 1 quite easily. So, hi, how's it going, guys? I'm Andrew Guy. I'm here. I'm going to be casting today. I hope you guys can hear me. I'm not sure. It sounds like the sound was a little off, and that was something I was trying to figure out what was going on there, which is why I was not able to commentate as well as I would have liked to. But hopefully the sound's great for you guys. Hopefully I'm loud enough. Hopefully the game is loud enough that we can get down to what really actually matters, which is casting some Clash Royale. So you saw, you know, Graveyard coming out from the top of your screen, and of course Royal Giant from the bottom of your screen. The Royal Giant pushes, I think, got a little bit too aggressive there towards the end of the game. You saw they weren't getting the support that they needed, or even in instances of wasting Elixir, you know, that Lumberjack sneaking in behind the Firecracker. So the Firecracker's unsupported, Lumberjack's going in by itself. Only Skeletons came down to clean up the Lumberjack, which is really not much of a great trade for the Argentinians. And then, of course, the Musketeer stayed alive, able to create a counter push in the right-hand lane, so they were able to go all out in the left, which is what they focused on in the beginning, able to get that Giant across the river, even after the NATO with the Graveyard down. So what happened was the Giant comes across, the NATO comes down to pull the Giant away, so the Princess re-aggroes on top of the Skeletons from the Graveyard, but maybe a little bit too much Elixir was spent on avoiding the Giant coming across the river as opposed to taking the Giant down. They had the building there, they had some good cleanup on the Skeletons, but what ended up being the issue was the Giant was still very, very healthy. You got a few units behind, put that Giant on skates, get right on through to the Princess Tower, and a nice win there for Pegasus and Tommy. You see here on the screen here, we can hop over. Pop into game number 2, and next time we'll take a look at those stats a little bit more closely for you guys, but I just wanted to say hi really, really quickly. So here we go. Early Night Witch and Golem coming down from the bottom of your screen. Looks like they're going to go pretty traditional here, something that we haven't seen in CRL in a very, very long time, which is just the straight up start with a Golem in the back, start building a push behind it. But there's so much splash in the meta now, so many strong spells you saw right there. This Golem kind of dies on the vine, that lightning comes out and cleans up the Baby Dragon and the Night Witch. So get a little bit of tower damage there, stop the Golem push in its tracks, and now you see a nice counter push coming in here from Tommy and Trainer Pegasus. You know, it's really interesting to see how much Lava Loon, or not Lava Loon, Lava Hound has been coming back into the meta, whether it's with the Loon or with the Miner. You can see right now going with the Miner, which honestly, in 2v2, I believe that Lava Miner is much, much more strong than Lava Loon, just because, you know, the amount of buildings, the amount of control spells that can come into play to really slow Lava Loon down in its tracks. Lava Miner, you're still able to get that Miner on the tower, tank for those pubs, or at least get the Miner on the tower that is being tanked for by that Lava Hound. So Golem down in the back once again for Nitramali. Just to remind you guys, in case you can't see the right side of your screen, Giant Skeleton is banned from both squads here. So Inferno being dropped behind that Lava Hound, hopefully going to try to protect that Inferno Dragon from any stuns or resets that could come its way. They're just going to go and eat right through that Golem. Does not even get its large burst of damage on the tower, but alternatively, on the bottom of your screen, you see that Lava Hound not really getting a lot done, but we have a big counter push here coming from the Nicaraguans. Maybe they get another Lava Hound down in front. No, they do not. So Baby Dragon plus Skeletons doing a nice cleanup there, and once again, Golem coming down. We got 2 Golems, 2 Battle Healers, 2 Night Witches, but can they actually put it all together? Does it just look nice on paper, or are they going to be able to execute? So E-Drag coming in, doing a great job stunning. I still love the E-Dragon, still one of my absolute favorite cards in the game. I love the mechanics behind it, I love everything about it. So now that Golem coming through, Inferno Dragon still focused on the Golem, but you see the Battle Healer there on the tower, and now we got a lot of Dragons coming through. Not going to be enough damage to take those Dragons out. NATO comes in. They got to get something to tank for him. Is this... Oh, it looks like the Argentinians are going to steal it. They're finally able to put everything together once they get into that double elixir time. You saw the Battle Healer squeeze on through in the beginning. Golem obviously getting tanked for, but the E-Drag in the back, resetting a lot of the high DPS troops, and just not enough defense played by Tommy and Ali. So very, very interesting. Nice comeback there. We're sitting at 1-1, which is great because this is a BO3, as is the 1v1 set that comes up after this. And if we find both squads tied at 1 after those 2 sets, then we'll get in King of the Hill, which is a best of 5. And if you guys don't know, King of the Hill, 3 players from each squad. Each player has 1 life. And it's basically whichever team loses 3 games first. So really, really nice showing there from both these guys. Very different. Very, very... Oh, here we go. So we got some stats for you guys. Very different deck compositions from what we saw in the first game. But now you can see right here, we got 3 Golems out from the bottom of your screen, the Argentinians, and that's really all they needed to do. The one thing, the one moment where it looked like Trainer Pegasus and Tommy could come back was when they played some really, really clean defense, and I think they had 2 Baby Dragons and an Inferno Dragon on the board, but they were not able to get 1 more Lava Hound down in front. So both the big tanks only played 3 times each. You see 2 Golems from Nitram, 1 from Ali, and alternatively 2 from Pegasus and 1 from Tommy, but just not able to get that Lava Hound down to create a big push in the moment that they probably needed it the most. Now, and that's one of the issues with the Battle Healer, right? You know, Battle Healer can make it so that all of a sudden what seemed like a clean defense, an effective, efficient defense, you'll find yourself all of a sudden going, wow, how's that Battle Healer not dead yet? Or, wow, how all those troops still have so much health? And, you know, you kind of saw that Desperation Tornado come in at the very, very end there from Trainer Pegasus to support his Musketeer, but just was not enough to take down all of those tanky troops. I mean, Baby Dragon, Battle Healer, Golem, obviously, and even the E-Drag has a good amount of health. So a lot of units there that are pretty beefy from Argentina. So we shall see who is going to take game number 3 in this 2v2 set. Once again, Tommy and Trainer Pegasus top your screen, Ali and Nitram bottom your screen. And right away, we we see the Golem Battle Healer once again and a Lava Hound on the other side. So what I'm curious to find out is if Nicaragua is going to continue to just go right into these Golem pushes time after time after time and, you know, find themselves in double elixir, kind of wanting for more damage or at least a bigger tank on the other side of the map, because, you know, what ended up happening in the last game was that Ali and Nitram were able to clean up these Lava Hound pushes pretty effectively, whereas in single elixir, that's when they started to have a lot of the issues. So, you know, right now, kind of the same thing that we saw last game, where Tommy and Pegasus are out to strike early, getting some good damage in on that tower, but let's see what happens when we get to double elixir time. Let's see if the Nicaraguans try to go opposite lane at all, or if they just go, you know, tank into tank over and over, as that did not work for them last game. So, gonna switch lanes, both of them. This is exactly what I was talking about earlier, is the bottom of your screen there. You see one Magic Archer in doing just enough work to not really have to spend any more elixir, and now all that getting cleaned up. Yes, they do take a good amount of damage, but they played it so efficiently that they should be able to build a big Golem push once again. So we go Golem, right-hand side, supported with a Night Witch. Left-hand side comes the Lava Hound. We'll see how much elixir they actually need to spend. That Lava Hound with the Inferno is just kind of begging for an E-Dragon to be dropped on it. And there it is. E-Dragon should also help stop the stun, but the lightning comes down, so Tommy and Pegasus ready for it, almost baiting it out. Really, really nicely played there, kind of giving all these reasons to drop that E-Dragon right on top, whether it's Dark Prince charge, the Inferno Dragon burn, or of course just getting some damage in on that Lava Hound. So really, really nice lightning coming out from Tommy and Trainer Pegasus, and that is going to probably be the deciding factor in the game. You know, they were doing a very good job, Ali and Nitram, by playing just enough defense that they weren't really demanding anything out of their opponents, right? Just a Magic Archer, you don't want to drop a lightning on that in single elixir or even in double elixir early on if it's just one Magic Archer in the tower. That's not really a great trade-off. So they ended up putting Lava Hound down, Inferno Dragon down, getting the Dark Prince behind it, and if I'm playing the game, even watching the game, that's exactly what I was thinking, is let's drop an Inferno, or excuse me, an E-Drag right on top of that. And it was a good idea, right? Let's stop the burn. Let's slow the charge. Let's get some damage in. Lightning comes down. Maybe needed to hold just a little bit more elixir in their hand, anticipating that that's maybe what the Nicaraguans were going to do. But, you know, hindsight is 2020. They did not do that. They were trying to double down on the right-hand push. And then after, you know, the tanks were kind of split up, where you saw Golem going one lane, Lava Hound going the opposite lane. That is when you saw the Nicaraguans trying to kind of get some footing. You know, you can't just go Lava Hound into Golem over and over and over in 2v2. It's just kind of running your head into a wall. You're not going to be able to break through, and if you do break through, you know, more power to you, but it's just not the game you really want to play. And you saw them do that in game 2. You saw them switch out of it in game number 3. So very, very nicely played by all four of these guys, but Trainer Pegasus and Tommy doing some really nice work here in that 2v2 set, which is kind of nice to see Tommy play 2v2. I don't see him play a lot of 2v2, but, you know, if you're here in the no-tilt worlds and trying to get some confidence, trying to get someone that has a lot of experience out there, whether or not they're a 2v2 specialist or not, having those seasons of CRL under your belt may be a good reason to have that guy kind of anchor down some strong decision-making here in the 2v2 set. But, you know, 2v2's over. Going to move on to 1v1. Curious to see who's going to be playing in the 1v1 set. I actually do not know yet, so I'll be finding out as you guys do as well. There'll be bans in 1v1, I believe. That sounds right. It's something that we're hoping to see more of. And, yeah, you know, really nice 2v2. What I really enjoyed about that 2v2 set was the difference in all of the the decks. You know, it wasn't just the same 6 decks we saw over and over and over, which is something that can happen quite a bit, especially when people get very, very comfortable in the meta, and the fact that 2v2 competitively has not been played much as of late, at least publicly. So here we go. Oh yeah, sorry, that's just because I'm, it is full screen, but that's just because I have my hand on it. I'm watching it through there. So Franco going up against, though they have not updated their graphics yet. Then Sergio Tremino, which, you know, I gotta say, I'm very excited about the mortar play here. I always love to see some mortar play. There we go. This is actually a really, really popular Royal Hogs mortar deck that's been played as of late. I think Fireball and Zap are also in there. It's something that I've been playing. Recently, I think I saw Lapicati tweeting about it, and I was like, you know what? I'm always down to try a new mortar deck out. And this one's a lot of fun. You know, a lot of defensive capability with the Valkyrie and Musketeer. Honestly, those are 2 of the strongest cards in the game right now. There is that really, really popular mortar Goblins Poison Musketeer deck that was kind of the mortar meta for a while, and this one maybe gonna be the new meta. You know, Royal Hogs getting a slight buff. And top of your screen, you see Sergio trying to play a bit more passively here, as his deck is going to be one that's going to kind of flourish in double elixir. Still above that 1500 HP mark, so Goblin Giant now coming down. See if and when we do end up seeing Sparky. So after they're doing a little bit of work, Musketeer going to come down. Maybe we'll get a high mortar. Nope, Musketeer just going to take care of it all on its own. Should turn and take care of that Brawler as well. There we go, 1 shot in on the Brawler. Now we see the mortar come down and the Sparky to match. So Zap comes in, there it is, 1 card left in Franco's hand, and that is going to most likely be the Fireball. So both these guys playing this pretty well right now. You know, Sergio not really that far behind. And then you see the cage coming out, so he's got a decent amount of responses. He's got the splash damage from the Dark Prince, he's got the E-Wiz there to stun, the Goblin Cage to distract the Royal Hogs, and of course that Mega Minion to put in some strong single target DPS. We'll see if Franco starts to go and put a little bit of pressure opposite lane, or if he's just going to keep going right into this Goblin Giant. So there's Zap, resets that Sparky, give that Valkyrie a little bit stronger legs to stand on. Poison comes in, and you know, this is where it feels like Franco's going to have to start to change things up. He can't just continue to rinse and repeat these exchanges. You know, they're really going to start to catch up with him, and you got to start to think about that poison value, because that poison is not going to be used on defense very often. This poison is not that strong against Royal Hogs, so Franco needs to get some pressure up in that right-hand lane. Pretty efficient defense. Gonna have enough to put down a Goblin Giant if he wants, but I don't think that's the plan. I think maybe you go Sparky in the back and kind of try to reset. There it is. So I still got it. Still got it a little bit. Just a little bit. So there we go. There's the pressure on the right-hand lane that we're talking about. Just a naked Valkyrie. Help there, try to maybe get some damage on that cage first, and the Sparky turns and cleans up that Hogs. Franco is in a lot of trouble right now. There's just not efficient defense on either side of the board. That Zap comes in, a really, really nice Zap, but it... Oh! My goodness, the Valkyrie just in time, but that Dark Prince did work on the right-hand lane, so, you know, Franco kind of doing what he needed to do with, you know, splitting up his offense, start to go in that right-hand lane, start to create opposite lane pressure, but unfortunately for him, that Goblin Cage aggroed that Sparky just enough to clean up those Royal Hogs. Franco's still making a case for himself, but this is going to have to be some very, very clean defense played by Franco. Fireball in, trying to beat that cycle. He's got it. Just needs to play 2 more cards. There's the poison. There's the zap. There's the fireball. Wow. Very, very well played by Franco. Just hanging on by a thread for so long. Only 18 seconds remaining there in overtime. And man, that was really, really well played by him, because a lot of times against Sparky Goblin Giant, and you know, at least from my experience playing this mortar deck, is you're going to get a lot of your damage in early on, and you know, in single elixir is kind of where you really need to keep up the pressure. You don't want to obviously sacrifice Royal Hogs into a Sparky, then you find yourself losing the advantage of single elixir. But once you got into double elixir, you saw the Sparky, the Goblin Giant. Obviously, those poisons, though, those poisons are brutal against this deck, because, you know, the Archers or the Musketeer, if either of them get caught in that poison, it makes it so much more difficult for you to DPS down that Goblin Giant. You know, you saw him use the mortar on offense a lot. He started to use it defensively more towards the end of the game, but you know, when he switched lanes, that was the right idea. It was the idea to kind of break up Sergio's offense. The only problem is that he just was not able to defend the left-hand lane the way that he wanted to. So he found himself taking a lot of damage on both sides of the board. And here you go. We got some stats coming in for you guys. Both sides of the board, left and the right-hand side. But somehow he did such a good job of keeping track of his own cycle, knowing where his cards were, knowing what he needed to do, you know, knowing that if he cycled the Valkyrie to the right, that he would have the skeletons to soak up that very first Sparky shot, getting back around to his zap, and then of course at the very end, the really, really nice work of recognizing, all right, I can't keep defending this. I don't know what I can do other than just spell cycle him out, and a really good job with those spell cycles. So Franco starting off early and aggressive with the wall breaker split. Sergio gets the Musketeer down. You can actually, if the Musketeer's dropped, I believe, 1 tile lower and a hair sooner, you can clean up both of those wall breakers. So something for you guys to work on at home if you'd like to take out those wall breakers and keep a Musketeer on the board without taking any damage. So Giant coming out early, and there's the Graveyard. Very, very aggressive here from Sergio. You know, graveyarding in single elixir if you recognize your opponent being kind of in trouble with their cycle, or maybe spending a lot already or spending too much early on is a way that you can get ahead using graveyard in single elixir. But a lot of times you talk to pros, and graveyarding in single elixir is not the best idea. If your opponent plays a strong defense, then you can find yourself taking a huge counter push. Dark Prince coming through, gonna get that King Tower activation after a couple big whacks. Both these guys resetting, getting back to 10. Recognizing, you know, when games take lulls like that and you're playing at home, and you can pretty much assume that your opponent hits 10 when they drop that unit, if you're just trying to count your opponent's elixir. So minor wall breakers left, Knight Ice Whiz right. Very, very strong defensive deck here from Franco, and we've seen, you know, this combination of Ice Whiz plus a building plus Tornado and so many different archetypes, and even you can throw the Knight in there as well. We've seen it with War Giant, we've seen it with Graveyard, now we're seeing it with Wall Breakers. How does everyone feel about wall breakers? I'm kind of looking back and forth through the chat. Not a lot, but looking back and forth through the chat, wondering what you guys think about the wall breakers and where they are at in the game. So Night Witch sneaks in front of the Giant on the left-hand side, which makes it so that Ice Whiz is really all that Franco needs to spend on defense. Happy to take that bat damage, taking a little bit more damage from that bat than I think he would have anticipated or liked, but it's not the end of the world for him. Ice Whiz are getting so much value. Good poison value there from Franco, getting on that Night Witch, and of course the Musketeer. Musketeer should survive with a sliver of HP. Yes, it does. And Dark Prince behind the Giant, but Musketeer in front of the Giant. Decides to go Goblins instead of Poison here. And one skeleton almost takes out the Ice Wizard. Goblin comes in and saves the day. 673 remains on that top left-hand tower. Goblin's coming in. Absorb that charge from the Prince. Miner goes in, does not get picked up by the Night Witch. Night Witch there dropped early on to try to find the Miner and also start the giant push, but not the case. And right now, Franco in a great position to just play some strong defense, cycle back to another Miner, plus poison, and end this game. Look at that splash from those bomb towers, just putting in so much work, such great defense. Musketeer, I think, is on the tower, though. Wow. That feels like it's going to do it. Wallbreaker's going to come in. Just need to get that Miner plus poison down. Miner going to go to the back. Nope, going to go to the inside. Poison comes in, and that is going to do it. Franco, 2 up, 2 down. Very, very well played, and we are all even up. Going to go into King of the Hill. Wow, that was great. Franco played that very, very nicely, and nice to see 2 different decks coming out from him. Of course, I am always happy to see Mortar. I love that new Mortar deck. I think that's a really, really strong Mortar deck. Like I said, the Valkyrie plus the Musketeer is really all the defense that you need, honestly. I mean, those plus the spells is so strong, and then of course, the skeletons in there for that very quick cycle, or to pick up some high DPS units. So much mini P.E.K.K.A. in the meta now, and you're starting to see more and more bait decks with the Prince and the Rascals, as opposed to the traditional log bait decks. So skeletons, they're great to pick up that Prince charge. Great to help with that mini P.E.K.K.A. Support your Valkyrie when taking out a mini P.E.K.K.A. If you're playing a Valkyrie and you're about to run into a mini P.E.K.K.A., you surround it with skeletons. It's just a great way to keep your Valkyrie pretty healthy. So here we are, tied up. And we got some stats here for you guys to take a look at. You see 4 graveyards coming down from Sergio, and he did play that graveyard in single elixir, but it was not that bad, or it didn't, it fared pretty well for him. It wasn't an overcommit. He did end up taking some damage on the left-hand side after spending that graveyard, but he was also able to activate King Tower, so kind of give and take there. Franco was able to activate King Tower, excuse me. So, we are going to go into King of the Hill, which is nice because we get to see more and more players from these 2 respective countries. And I think that, you look at this and you see the amount of bomb towers that were coming down. You saw 6 bomb towers coming down, something that are so strong in this game right now. That death damage from the bombs obviously going to really help out. Move my mic closer. I mean, I can't really move it much closer. If you guys want me to turn it up a little bit, I can maybe do that. But it's so interesting because usually my mic is way too loud. So getting a little bit of both from you guys. How are you guys enjoying No Tilt so far? Who do you think is going to take it here in King of the Hill? It looks like the 2v2 was kind of back and forth. 1v1 was pretty one-sided. Do you bring Franco back out right away? Do you give him a break? I think honestly, unless the rules say that he can't, which again, I apologize, I'm still trying to figure out all of the rules. I think you bring him right back out. I honestly think you do. I think he played really great there. He played 2 very different decks. I don't think you're able to figure out exactly what he wants, other than that he likes to play decks with building, but there's so many buildings in the meta right now, decks with buildings in the meta, that I think that if you can get him back out there. So okay, so there you go. We've got our lineups here for King of the Hill. He's not going to start things off. He will be in the middle there, and Lindsay's going to close things out. So you see the 2 CRL standouts, Tommy and Lindsay, going to finish out for both of their squads. Franco and Sergio both in those middle spots. Dr. Castillo kicking things off for Nicaragua, and Ali from 2v2 going to start things for Argentina. And again, King of the Hill, 1 life, 1 chance, 1 opportunity. That's all you get, and this is why we're here, right? This is why we're watching No Tilt. This is why we put King of the Hill last, is because, they did great jobs in the first opening sets, but King of the Hill is where things can really go crazy, can really be matchup dependent, and Ali starting early on with some wall breakers. And you guys were talking a little bit about the quality of the feed, so I'll see if I can fix that before we get into the next game. So as we talked about mini P.E.K.K.A, there she is. Yeah, she's mini. Minor mini P.E.K.K.A, support those Wow, going really, really heavy here. Hyper aggressive. But pretty much, I mean, not pretty much, they are even an elixir, so nice recognition there of Ali knowing where Dr. Castillo was at elixir-wise and putting the pressure up. So there is the reset, as you said, you know. The opponent hangs out for a little bit, and it looks like Dr. Castillo is... I don't want to say he's disconnected. I hope he's not disconnected. But he appears to just be leaking a bunch of elixir. And with the cards that he has so far, it does not feel like that is something that he wants to do. And now Ali is also leaking elixir. So maybe now this is a good moment for me to mess with the settings really quickly. I apologize. We're going to go out of full screen for a half a second. And we'll see if we can fix the settings. Go 1080. Try that out. Do this. Is that better for you guys? It's better for me. You tell me how that is for you. Not that it really matters, because we're just hanging out. We're just hanging out watching. So, you know, hi chat, how's it going? So, Ali and Dr. Castillo got to be somewhat frustrated. You know, it is always really, it's just always a bummer. It's a bum. It's always a bummer when you have issues playing and you kind of burn through your deck. So, you know, especially in King of the Hill, when you're... Oh, wow. So Dr. Castillo now playing a Sparky. So they waited till a minute. All right. I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm okay with it, though. We're back to it. We got a Sparky in the back, Musketeer following it, and then we see Ali going hardcore in the left-hand lane. So we've got two big-time pushes here coming from both squads, but I got to admit, Dr. Castillo's looking a little bit better at the moment. Mega Knight does come down, cleans up with the Goblins. Mini Peck on the left-hand lane will not get a swing. It does get one swing, but wow, that was very, very interesting. Dark Prince going to get on through unless something else is dropped, so Dark Prince going to get 2-3 swings in on that tower, bringing that tower up. Wow, 4! That was a big 4th swing, and Ali not happy about that. I can imagine so, you know, not sure what happened there in the middle of this match, but, you know, all of a sudden we saw 2 massive pushes coming in, and honestly, between these 2 decks, you know what's going to win the downhill push battle, right? It's the one with the giant with Sparky in it. So Zap's coming out from both sides. Mega Knight in. Mini P.E.K.K.A does avoid the Sparky shot and stays alive, so bats have to come down to support. Minor wall breakers, left-hand lane. One of them will connect. No, it does not. A very nicely played Mini P.E.K.K.A there by Dr. Castillo. So 1 minute and 33 remaining here in overtime with, you know, about a minute of gameplay there missing from this match. So really, really interesting, and you know, both these squads, or both these gentlemen clearly still fighting for this game, as there's not going to be a replay or anything like that, it appears. And Miner comes in, hopefully going to soak up that... Nope, now it's pushed into the tower, so that Sparky, if it does get a shot off, will take that tower down. On the Miner, nope, hits the Goblins first. A defensive Earthquake comes in. That was a very, very interesting game, to say the least. That Miner at the very end there to take out those Goblin Giant, the Spear Goblins on the back of the Goblin Giant, and then you saw that the Goblin Giant kind of pushed the Miner into the Princess Tower. Those Goblins came down. Sparky focused on them instead. Shot goes to the Goblins, not to the Miner. Tower stays alive, and then a defensive Earthquake comes out on the other side of the screen. So very, very, very interesting. Game number 1 there, but you know, Ali does walk away with the victory. So we'll see who. We'll just see what happened. I'm trying to figure out what exactly happened. So people in chat are saying that they're trolling. I don't know if there was a disconnect. Either way, game 1 is down. Ali ends up surviving, and here we go. So Ali for Argentina, going against Sergio here from Nicaragua. Miner comes in, is picked up by the guards. Seeing more and more guards lately, especially because we've been seeing more and more Lava Hounds, and there it is. So Lava Hound coming down, going right into that Musketeer, recognizing that the minions are out of cycle. And that's going to hurt. So mini P.E.K.K.A swing and some wall breaker damage. And 7 elixir to defend. Nice timing there on the minions, making sure that Mega Minion was focused on the Musketeer and not able to turn around. So aggressive Naked Balloon opposite lane, knowing the Musketeer is out of cycle, knowing that the minions are out of cycle, and it does get a big, big drop. Really nice job there from Sergio, keeping up the pressure in the bottom right. You know, he saw his opening once the Lava Hound went down in the bottom left side from Ali, and he did exactly what he needed to do. Create a ton of pressure in the right-hand lane, hopefully getting a lot of damage in, which he did, so now this does not feel like a game that is out of his grasp, and Ali not happy about that. You know, these Lava Hound decks do not have a lot of ground power, and if your ground power is, or your tankage on the ground is, or are, however you want to say it, guards, then the Mega Knight's going to make easy work of them. Miner into the back, Mega Knight through, Mega Knight supported with those minions. Minions sweep in front of the Mega Knight, but honestly at this point does not really matter. That tower is going to go down, so Ali now needing to make a big, big push here in the right-hand lane. Miner goes in. This has been so well played by Sergio, just spreading Ali so very thin. Now you see he does end up taking that top right-hand tower, but it doesn't really matter. He's only got 272 HP remaining in the bottom right, so now you see Ali going all out, and that Musketeer is going to make good work of the balloon. Balloon could get one drop, and it does not, just the death damage. Miner going to go to the back, probably. Guards there to pick it up. Wall breakers in the pocket. Wall breakers get a zap and a Mega Minion swing. Ali just kind of delaying the inevitable at this point. Never give up, never surrender. You love it. So Miner going to go into the back maybe. Nope, going to go into the #1 spot. And there it is. Mega Knight leaps, and that is going to do it. Good game, well played, and a pretty nice matchup there from Sergio going up against Ali. So again, we are all even here in King of the Hill going into game number 3. Sergio going to stay in, and Franco, I believe, coming out in that second spot for Argentina. So we're going to get a nice rematch of what we just saw in the 1v1 set. We'll see what decks they play. We'll see if they try to change things up a bit. But you did see how that 1v1 set went. So we'll see if that's going to get in Sergio's head. We'll see how, you know, the confidence is coming out for Argentina moving forward. And yeah, someone was talking in here about the streaming. So I'm streaming through No Tilt through their stream key. So all that stuff is in their hands. If you have any issues, you got to talk to them about it, because I'm just here looking at my computer, talking about things that are happening. So here we go, the rematch from the 1v1 set. Sergio and Franco, both these guys just kind of hanging out for a moment, figuring out what they want to do. Sergio drops a knight in the back, and Franco decides to respond with the same. I wonder if we're going to see an Ice Wiz as well. No, we see Baby Dragon, so we could still be seeing a mirror matchup. A lot of cards that work very, very well together. And there's the swerve from Sergio for now. Bomb tower. Clean up that nice 5 elixir push from Sergio for a +1 trade and a little bit of damage. And there's the graveyard. So Ice was out of cycle, Goblin's out of cycle, Poison is there, but Mega Minion gets 2 huge swings on that tower, and Franco off to a very, very nice lead to start things out. Keeping up the pressure with that Barb Barrel, something that the God RF told me. If you don't really have anything to do and you don't want to cycle one of your stronger cards, then cycle the Barb Barrel at the river. creates a little bit of pressure, and if your opponent ignores it, get a little bit of damage. So what's going to be really interesting about this is, once we get in double elixir time, how Franco is going to be able to keep up enough pressure to get those poisons out of cycle offensively, or needing them defensively not on these graveyards, right? So the best way to do that usually is to create a huge push to come across the river, and then all of a sudden your opponent has to spend the poison at the river on, let's say, Ice Witch, Baby Dragon, and Mega Minion. But that's if we get to a 2-tower game, because right now it does seem like Franco's going to be able to defend these pretty easily. So there's the poison, just getting a little bit of value. You had to anticipate that was most likely the last card. I mean, the only other card you usually see is Freeze with Graveyard, and I don't think any of us were expecting Freeze. High bomb tower again, pull those units aside. Mega Minion going by, maybe an E-Wiz drop on top. Nope, Mega Minion turn around. E-Wiz comes in a second late, tries to avoid that poison. Now Franco just needs to get his poison down on the top left-hand side of your screen. That's going to be 2 for Argentina. Here we go. Looks like we got Tommy coming up next. We got Franco and Lindsay still ready to go here for Argentina. Nicaragua back up against the wall, but you know, this is a place where Tommy plays pretty well. We've seen Tommy do very, very well in King of the Hill, and he's definitely a guy that we know does not crumble under pressure. So I'm very excited to see what Tommy's going to do here, and I also just love watching Tommy play. But I'm also excited to see some of these guys that are making a name for themselves looking to play up against some CRL pros. You know, Tommy's definitely very, very well respected, and doing it here to start off your No-Tilt Worlds is a great way to do it. Close out Nicaragua in King of the Hill with taking down Tommy along the way. So we'll see. Franco doing really, really nice, though, playing a lot of different decks out there. He plays very calm. He plays very methodical. He's not really a big, you know, burst or bust player. It seems like he just likes to play the game that he knows. He likes to control the games. And I've been really enjoying watching him play so far. You know, he's only played, you know, we've seen him play against Sergio 3 times now and put in a lot of work. We'll see how he does here against Tommy.
Yay.
So Tommy looking like he's going with some form of log bait. Franco maybe playing that giant deck that's gotten pretty popular. I remember this deck. This is a fun, like, kind of bridge spamming log bait deck that got pretty popular towards the end of CRL Spring, maybe? I think it was. But it's just a lot of fun. There is the giant coming out from Franco, so we know exactly what we've got on both sides of the board here, and now it's going to be all about Tommy throwing some tricky barrels or making his opponent use the log not on the goblin barrel, and, you know, for Tommy it's going to be about going both lanes. Got to keep the pressure up on both sides. Bandit going to get right on top of the Magic Archer if that P.E.K.K.A was not played perfectly. Very, very nice P.E.K.K.A from Franco. And Magic Archer will go down, but an aggressive giant at the river. Dark Prince falls, and Franco decides to eat the entirety of that Goblin Barrel in the bottom left. But there is the log. Tommy plays the Goblin gang behind his tower, knowing that Franco had the log in cycle. Now minded the back to clean up those Spear Goblins. Very, very nicely orchestrated offense here from Franco. Yeah, that was pretty picture perfect. So Franco probably gonna just eat that charge and hits from the Dark Prince. Yes, he does. And starts another giant push. Don't think he's gonna log. Yep. There we go. Magic Archer down, trying to create more offense on the board. Now he can save his log for that Goblin game if necessary. Giant down. This deck cycles so quickly. Magic Archer piercing on through, but not getting on top of the Princess Tower. There's the log to clean up the Goblins. 781 to 1324. Those are the two lowest towers on the board. The mini P.E.K.K.A. play from Franco has been so excellent here, and just keeping his cycle on point with Tommy's also been things been very, very impressive about this. Magic Archer down. Now this is a moment where it looks like, feels like he would have to log, but not. Franco does a great job with those skeletons plus the giant to line everything up for that Magic Archer. Still has the log in hand to deal with Tommy's Goblin Barrel. Franco is playing this near perfect. Miner to the back. Really, really nice King Tower activation there for Tommy, but it could be too little too late at this point with only 525 HP remaining. Rascal split there, create pressure in both lanes. Tommy kind of selling out on the left-hand side. There's the Goblin Barrel on the right. Log not played. Log late. 532 remaining, 525 to 532. Tommy needs to get something on top of this giant. He does have the rocket. There is a perfect Magic Archer. Reset, but not enough. That was so well played. And a very nice King of the Hill sweep from Franco Medina. 5 1v1 games in a row for that young man. So very well played. I loved it. I loved it. I love to see plays like that. You saw what he was doing with that giant. He recognized the cycle that Tommy was in. He knew exactly where and when he could take damage, what he needed to defend in, and what he needed to defend, and how to keep up the pressure. I'm sorry, I do not know what is going on outside. But that was very, very well played. Argentina drops the 2v2 set. They turn around and come back and take the 1v1 and the King of the Hill. Here are some stats for you guys. 5 barrels down, only 4 logs spent, 7 miners come out. I was going to say, no snowballs used there from Franco, as it wasn't a card that he actually had to use, or at least that he didn't really want to use it, right? Because the snowball isn't going to take out a lot of the units that he needed. Instead, he relied heavily on that Magic Archer to be essentially a big spell for him. So Magic Archer doing a lot of work, and my favorite part was when he lined up all those splash troops with his Magic Archer plus skeletons, and then dropped the giant in front to create another big counter push. So really, really well played by Argentina. Nicaragua going to fall early, or not early, but in their first match here of No Tilt Worlds. And, you know, Lindsay, not someone that we saw a lot. We didn't get to see Lindsay in the 1v1 set, so definitely something we're going to be looking forward to here. And we will be back in just a little bit with our second matchup of the day. You can take a look at the schedule for the day here. That is the schedule. So we're going to see Bolivia versus El Salvador next. But right there, the 2-1. And that was a good one. That was a fun one. That was a fun one to start my my casting day off with. Right here you can see Group F and where they're hanging out points-wise. Argentina now at the very top of it. Nicaragua at the bottom. And Bolivia and El Salvador yet to play. Obviously, that's what we were seeing next up here at No Tilt Worlds. And yeah, I'm Andrew Guy. I'll be back. Happy for Argentina there. Nicaragua going to have to get back to the drawing board. I have no idea what that sound is. I mean, I know what it is. It's the dog. I just don't know whose dog it is. So, we're just hanging out. And match 2 will be up in about 7.5 minutes. So go use the restroom, go get yourself a drink, come back. We're ready to go for the last, I guess these are the last 2 teams that haven't played yet. So yeah, we'll see you in just a minute.
No audio. There we go. There we go. So here we go. El Salvador, this team here, BMX 13, Rigo 12, Kyle X, and Polito. Excited to see how these guys do. These are the last two teams that haven't played yet. And yep. Sorry about the sound there. We're back though. We're alive. And how'd you guys feel about the first matches of the day? How'd you guys feel about the first teams of the day, Argentina and Nicaragua? I think those were actually some really, really great matches. I was really, really impressed with Franco in those. I mean, he played very, very well. He played a bunch of different decks. And yeah, you guys should be able to hear me now. Sorry about that. I apologize. So we are just getting ready for the game to start. And
En cada grupo los equipos
this is all in Spanish, so but that's Koji and Manu.
Los que queden primeros en cada grupo pasarán a los octavos de final.
Let's see if we can break things down
de final será enfrentamientos directos donde la selección que gane avanzará a la siguiente ronda. Así pasaremos de octavos a cuartos para llegar a las semifinales y la gran final. El formato de cada partido será el mejor de 3. El primer set, como siempre, un 2 contra 2. Después vamos al 1 contra 1. Y en el caso de ser necesario, el rey de la pista. Cuando lleguemos a la final, el formato va a cambiar un poco. Ese partido se ganará al mejor de 5. El primer set, como siempre, el 2 contra 2. El segundo y tercer set es un 1 contra 1. ¿Y qué pasa si siguen un empate? Otro 1 contra 1 en el cuarto set. Y finalmente, en caso de continuar empatados, pasamos al rey de la pista.
So it looked like they were just breaking that down for you guys in case you're not familiar with the sets. It does go 2v2, then 1v1, and then it'll close out with King of the Hill. All are BO3s other than King of the Hill, which is a BO5. And as we get moving farther along in the tournament, they will become BO5s, I believe, in the championship. But right now, we don't need to worry about that. We're just worried about the BO3s. And we should be getting started in just a little bit. So let me know in the chat who you guys got, huh? Who you got? You got Bolivia, you got El Salvador. Let me know. And who should I be looking out for? I don't know a lot of these players, but we do have our 2v2 lineups right here. You see Rayo. I'm just going to call him Rayo. And 007. I like that name. Strong name. Kyle X and Polito on the other side of it for El Salvador. So Kyle and Polito going up against Rayo and 007. How do you guys feel about these four gentlemen? Have you seen them play 2v2 before? I'm very curious to see right now. Here we go. Game number 1. Set number 1 underway. Minor banned by Bolivia. And looks like El Salvador is going to take the Giant Skeleton off the board. Giant Skeleton has been 3 of the 4 bans in 2v2 today. And makes a lot of sense. Giant Skeleton is just a nightmare to deal with in 2v2. So a double Dark Prince drop on both sides of the board, but as you can see, El Salvador dropped theirs at the exact same time, whereas you saw Bolivia kind of staggered their units just a bit. And we've got a nice counter push coming in here. A big counter push coming in here. Flying Machine needs to stay behind everything, and as long as it does, yes it does, should be able to put in a ton of DPS on all these support troops. Pekka there tanking for the Flying Machine. Flying Machine does take out the Baby Dragon, gets a shot or 2 in on, 3 shots in on that E-Wiz, so shouldn't be very difficult to play some efficient defense here. So Bats maybe getting a little too cheap with their defense. Maybe one more elixir spent there would have helped them out, but you know, they're doing okay. They're doing okay. Royal Hogs coming in, so we got double Royal Hogs from the bottom of your screen. Top of your screen, most likely Graveyard, and there it is. And Poison coming out, plus the Battle Healer, going to be very, very nice defense there from the Bolivians. So, Dark Goblin, one of my favorite cards in the game, and honestly, a strong card in 2v2, but I think it really just comes down to sheer preference at this point. So Flying Machine up high, there's Dark Prince low, and Dark Prince high to clean up. There's the freeze, gets the Princess Tower and both support units there, so it does demand a log to come out, and getting a nice little bit of poison value there on top of the Dark Prince, and of course that Magic Archer, cleaning it off the board. Dark Prince going to go down with the splash damage from that Baby Dragon, even though it does put that Mama P.E.K.K.A on skates. Battle Healer coming out up front to protect the Musketeer, and kind of does its job, kind of. Those Royal Hogs felt very, very aggressive from Bolivia. How will they respond to the counter push that is going to be coming in? There's 11 Elixir in the hand of the Salvadorians right now. So there you go, Graveyard in, gets a little bit of damage in. There is the freeze, so that's why the log came out first. Magic Archer in the center, and that is going to do it. That is going to be towered down. Really, really well played there by El Salvador, and just a bit too aggressive was Bolivia. I'm not sure what they thought they were going to get out of that huge onslaught at the river, but it did feel a little bit like they were spending too much, and then, of course, those Royal Hogs being played actually after the Mega Knight already came down, so I'm not positive if the Mega Knight... Yeah, the Mega Knight jump damage did not get on top of it, but obviously the splash damage did, and everything was caught up at the river. So if you can't get past the Mega Knight and is doing all that splash damage, those Royal Hogs were literally 5 free Elixir being sent over. So not having that 5 Elixir really, really hurt them on defense. They weren't able to stagger out their troops the way that they needed to, so you saw what they did. They sent in the log first, which... The log is good because the log can't be frozen and it's going to clean up those spells, but ideally for them, they would have been able to play 1 unit to bait out the freeze and get the log down, and then play the 2nd unit towards the center like you saw with that Magic Archer. So taking a look at the stats here, see 3 Graveyards came out that entire game along with 2 freezes, and those freezes were used very, very effectively. And I'm actually a big, big fan of Graveyard Freeze in 2v2. I think it's one of the stronger... really what it is it becomes pretty difficult to manage, and then if your opponent even gets 1 or 2 good freezes in, that can be the entire game right there, and especially as you get into the end of double elixir time or into overtime, you know, you're able to kind of figure out where your opponent's spells are at, where their splash troops are at, and then really kind of punish them as you saw there. So here we go. Game number 2. 1 in the hand of El Salvador, and appreciate the kind words in the chat. I am trying to go back and forth between the live chat and the game, because why not? You know, we got live chat, might as well talk to you guys. You guys are here. So, wow, a very aggressive Mega Knight plus Graveyard plus Dark Goblin. And the bottom right-hand side of your screen, you see the Dark Goblin still alive. Mega Knight gets so much great damage, and the Snowball does a ton of work. Now it's going to be all about the defense. Can the Salvadorians, you know, show that what they just did on offense was worthwhile by playing good defense? And it does appear that they're going to be able to. So that Mega Knight's going to be able to tank. It's going to definitely take still some splash damage and damage from those Golemites, but you know, Ewiz is there to help with the Battle Healer. Battle Healer does not do a ton of single target DPS, and that was just really, really well played by El Salvador once again. So, you know, the Bolivians playing from behind in 2v2 is not, I don't know, it's not ideal, not ideal. And they're playing a beatdown deck, so what's really, really nice about playing against a beatdown deck like this is, you know, if you are El Salvador, you can wait for your opponent to commit. So there you go. There's the Golem. Now we know where to play the Mega Knight. Now we know where to double down on defense. And you can still create just enough pressure if you want on offense with a Graveyard plus something very cheap. So we'll see if they end up doing that or if they end up just going all out on defense. I think it kind of depends on how their opponents put together these offensive pushes. So there you go. Happy to take a good amount of damage in from this Golem push, but you see a very healthy Dark Prince and Mega Knight, so they're anticipating the Graveyard on the other end. Really nice Mega Minion there to catch, or excuse me, to, oh, never mind. I thought that was a blue Mega Minion. I thought it caught the Dark Goblin, but nope. It was El Salvador's Mega Minion and their Dark Goblin. Dark Goblin is still going to stay alive and just getting so much value once again. The Dark Goblin doing so much DPS with such little health. And another strong counter push here. Mega Knight written all over it. There it is. Freeze plus Mega Knight. So really, really going all out on defense. And there's the cage to keep that Golem away from the tower. Poison going to clean up everything in there. Golem going to get to tower. Magic Archer off the board. Now, Poison out from both squads. Graveyard becomes a lot more difficult in double elixir. And the luxury that Bolivia has is they can defend wherever you know, El Salvador decides to attack and then throw a golem down in front. So you see right here, all this on the board. There's the golem up front. This game just took a massive swing in favor of Bolivia. So another freeze plus Mega Knight. And that Mega Knight not doing exactly what the Salvadorians would like. Getting some good damage in on that King Tower, and not a counter push in sight for El Salvador. So now you see once again Bolivia just going golem in their respective pocket towards their weak tower, or their only princess tower, I should say. Layering this nice E-drag up high, maybe anticipating that goblin cage. It's hard to say, but looking like geniuses right now are the Bolivians. So only 3 elixir in hand. They're going to have to let this offense die. And El Salvador on the other end of it, they've got 57 seconds to figure out some way to create an offensive presence. So maybe now they go for the King Tower. That E-drag should play... Wow, really, really nice golem there. Up high to keep that Dark Goblin off of the E-drag. I don't know if that Night Witch, though, was a great play. We'll see. Kind of a lot to spend there. You see all these dragons very, very healthy. Not enough elixir to get down another golem, but it's kind of one of those moments where you see a lot of golem decks go where they don't actually need a golem up front. They've got enough. So now a defensive graveyard comes out for El Salvador. They're doing everything they can to stay alive. That Dark Goblin is still alive, even taking that snowball hit and helping out a ton with cleaning up these dragons. That Night Witch. Baby dragons are there, but not able to get on top of the Dark Goblin. 23-19, 29-65, 34-76, and 15-42. El Salvador hangs on. Wow. I love it. I love it. Very, very, very well played. And that was interesting, right? Because we talked about how, you know, Graveyard does not do well in double elixir, and they did not play their Graveyard once offensively, or excuse me, in a 2-tower game, not double elixir. Graveyard does very well in double elixir. In a 2-tower game, and you saw right there, they only used the Graveyard one time in the 2-tower game, I believe, maybe twice, but one time that I remember, and it was defensively. And it actually worked out really, really well. That defensive Graveyard ended up paying dividends for El Salvador, keeping enough of their units distracted, enough of their units at bay, and then the Mega Knights at the river, the units that kept getting dropped at the river to keep their Dark Goblin safe, their highest DPS unit. And all those, you know, the Baby Dragons are obviously tanky and do splash damage. They do a good amount of damage, but Baby Dragon against Mega Knight, you're going to need more than a couple of them to really kind of mow it down the way that they needed to, and they just were not able to break on through. And then you saw at the end, you saw that high golem in the pocket going for the El Salvadorian's Princess Tower, but they dropped a Night Witch right in the thick of all that stuff. So I understand wanting to get that single target DPS in there and try to support your golem, but the problem is that elixir was just not used effectively or in a way that kind of would have helped them down the road. It was just kind of dumped all into that one spot, and it was cleaned up very easily by the Salvadorians. So really, really nice start. And hey, look at that, Rich Slayton in the chat. What's up, my brother? Thank you so much for letting me take a couple matches off you. It's been a lot of fun. It's been cool to see more Golem here in 2v2 again. It's paid off only once today, I believe, so far, when Argentina ran it in their second game. But yeah, that was pretty easy for El Salvador there for most of that. They obviously they struggled a bit in once it got to the beginning of the 2-tower game. As I said, Graveyard and 2-tower games, it's just really, really hard to create enough tankage on the board and get those Graveyards tanked for and get the damage in on that Princess Tower. Plus, when you're playing against those beatdown decks, you want to make sure you're not committing too much on the offense, because if they do end up cleaning it up in a very, very easy manner, then you have to deal with all those big counter pushes. Really, really well played by both squads, but El Salvador up now, and we're going to see Rigo 12 going up against Mao in this 1v1 set. So we could be seeing Mortar from the bottom of your screen. If I ever see any cards that work in a mortar deck, guys, I will always say that it is mortar because I want it to be, and it is not. So now we see that Wall Breakers deck that's been very, very popular. Ice Wiz, yep, there's the Ice Wiz coming out as well. Very, very strong defensively. Pretty quick cycle. Obviously the minor chip damage in there. So Baby Dragon gets a little bit of a sizzle. And Miner in that top left-hand tower meets the Mini P.E.K.K.A. Mini P.E.K.K.A. is everywhere right now, and that's why you'll see more and more skeletons and goblins in the meta. So I don't know if he actually needed to play those goblins. I understand why he did. You know, taking a Mini P.E.K.K.A. shot early on just because you're trying to be fancy is not ideal, but I don't actually think he needed it. So Baby Drag plus the zap there. Nice King Tower activation. Valkyrie comes down. Is this Lava Miner? And a little bit more sizzle there from the Inferno. Inferno Dragon is a very interesting card in matchups like this because, you know, when you recognize that your opponent doesn't have a lot of ways to get directly to your Inferno Dragon, if you can find, you know, holes in your opponent's defense and, you know, get a lot of value out of your Inferno Dragon, that's when you start to really, really punish your opponent. So there is the Lava Hound. Kind of felt like a give me on that guess, but you see the double dragons there, you see the Mini P.E.K.K.A. and obviously the Miner. Not really many other archetypes that it works into. Those cards all work into. So here we go. Rocket comes down, cleans up that Baby Dragon to kind of help mitigate a lot of the damage that would have come in. Lava Hound much more manageable. And maybe some skeletons going to come out. Nope, don't need the skeletons for the Inferno. Instead, decides to go on offense. So Miner in, will get 2 Wall Breaker hits. Valkyrie up in front, tanking for those Lava Pups. Really, really nice placement on the Valkyrie, and you know, Miner maybe should have went to the back to turn the Valkyrie around, but it's one of those interesting plays that you anticipate the casual player is going to make, is Miner to the back to tank for the pups, but so pros sometimes will try to switch things up. In that case, would have been nice to do the casual players Miner to the back, get those Lava Pups on the tower, or at least get that Valkyrie turned around. So Fireball in, going to clean up that Ice Wiz. Second one comes down. Nice NATO there. Zap to reset the Ice Wiz on the Miner. Now the pups are on top of the Ice Wiz. That was a pretty nice zap, but maybe trying to do a little bit too much, but he doesn't really have an option, right? He was trying to go for the win because he knew he did not have a chance. So Mao now picking up the first win of the day for Bolivia against Rigo 12. So those were fun. That was a fun game. Mao did a really, really good job of sending those miners any time that he had a little bit extra elixir, and I mean, just Ice Wiz plus NATO, right? Ice Wiz plus NATO is so frustrating to deal with. It is so difficult to deal with. It is so strong defensively, and then, you know, you replace skeletons for goblins, and all of a sudden you're not able to just cheap spell those off the board, you know. So did a great job of keeping his Ice Wiz alive, getting as much value as he could out of it, not letting the Miner get a ton of damage in from his opponent, and not really panicking too much when the lane, you know, the pressure was split. You saw that one push where it was like Mini P.E.K.K.A. plus Inferno Dragon, I believe, on the right, and then on the left-hand lane it was the Baby Dragon plus the Lava Hound. It was just an easy rocket to the left, focus on the right, then deal with the Lava Hound however you need to, instead of trying to get the rocket on the Lava Hound, get damage on the Lava Hound, somehow defend on the right-hand lane. It's kind of dealing with things in sequence, and that's one of the things about being a pro, or about being at this high of level, is you have to deal with things sequentially, and you have to pick the right sequence, right? Because if you even spend 1 or 2 more elixir in the wrong order or on the wrong side of the map, then you find yourself losing. So here we go, Mao and Rigo, game number 2, and they both start off with an Ice Spirit, or excuse me, with an Ice Golem, 1 Ice Spirit, and 1 Skellies. Logs on both ends of the board. So Ice Spirit not in front of the Bandit, but Ice Spirit does make it so that a Ice Golem has to come out. Ice Golem going to deal with those bats as well. So some fun quick cycle decks. Quick cycle usually means higher skill cap, at least in my opinion. So poison value comes in, kind of selling out now on the right-hand lane. Bomb tower played low. And if that bomb tower does go down to the bandit, bandit's going to get some decent damage in on the tower. 2 swings, there they are.
Ice Golem meets Ice Golem. Maybe gonna try to steal some more poison value if you can. There it is. And you see that Ice Spirit being played high, so the Musketeer stays in the poison, takes the Musketeer off the board. A very, very small interaction, but a very, very important interaction. So that demands Snowball out. Ice Golem was tanking for those bats, and now Miner in. So Mao just playing this about as perfect as he can. You know, he's making all the right interaction decisions. He's knowing when to go all in, when to hold. He's getting the poison value when he can, and not spending too much on it. And you saw, you know, that poison value plus the Ice Spirit there on the Musketeer kept the Musketeer in the poison, and took it off the board, which made that balloon push a lot easier to deal with. So other side, same story as the first. You see the Ice Golem going up high this time to catch the Miner. There's the Hunter. Hunter still will take out that balloon with a little bit of help from the Ice Spirit. Now Miner on the tower on the right-hand side, but getting tanked for by that Ice Golem. So now within spell cycle range, or just within spell range, 12 seconds left. There's the log. Tower's going to go down. How will Rigo take this tower out? Will Rigo take this tower out? Hunter does not turn around, is on top of the balloon. Balloon does not get a drop. And a very quick 2-0 there for Mao for Bolivia. So here we go. Back to King of the Hill. We're doing it. We are doing this. So Bolivia takes the 1v1. Salvador takes 2v2. Very similar to what we saw in game number 1 between Argentina and Nicaragua. So I'm curious to see, again, where, you know, in both of the 1v1 sets, we had straight-up sweeps, right? And then that player fell into the second slot in the first matches of the day, so we'll see what they decide to do. Maybe put Mao in that second slot again. If that is, again, I'm not 100% on the rules and whether or not they can go directly from a 1v1 set into the very first spot of King of the Hill. But either way, give him a breather. He did a great job for his country, for his team. Let him sit one out. Let someone else go out there, get their feet wet, you know, feel out their opponent, and maybe go back and build some more decks. So so far here we go. Bolivia and El Salvador tied at 1 as we get into set number 3. King of the Hill, 3 players from each squad. Each player has 1 life, and it will be decided by whichever team gets to 3 wins or 3 losses first. Who do you guys got? It's tough, right? Because, you know, 2v2 dominance matters, but it really becomes exponentially less important if you lose the 1v1 set. So here you go. Mao going up against Rigo. Just a quick look at these stats that are coming out, and of course the bats plus the Ice Spirit plus the Hunter are all great ways to get on top of that balloon. And you know, the Bandit's going to help clean up the Miner every single time. The poison value came in regularly for Mao to keep the Musketeers off the board. So just a really great job of kind of managing the board, managing his opponent's offense, and making sure that his opponent could not comfortably create those big pushes. Because we know what those look like when we're playing against quick balloon cycle decks, right? You know, they get the Ice Golem down, the balloon's behind it, they got a Musketeer that's already been walking down the lane behind both of those, and then they send in the late Miner. Snowball's locked and ready to go to clean up the first wave of your cheap defense. So, you know, Rigo just not able to orchestrate the offense that he wanted to. And unfortunately, with this deck that he's playing against, it's not as simple as just like, okay, pressure on the left-hand lane, and then I'll go balloon Miner right-hand lane. That Hunter is kind of the X factor for Mao. Every time that Hunter comes down right on top of that balloon, the balloon just has no chance of getting to the tower. So then it became a mind game of Rigo trying to get the Miners on top of the Hunters, but then Mao was catching the Miners with the Ice Golems. So Mao just played that about as cleanly as he could. Really well played by Mao. And like I said, we got 2 1v1 sets in the books on the day, and both those sets were sweeps. And in match 1 of the day, we went and saw Franco Medina, I believe, go on and sweep King of the Hill. So we'll see if Mao is going to do that for his squad here. And yeah, I'm excited, man. This is exciting. Just a quick little segue or break from just me talking about these stats and these players is, you know, Koji and Manu are good friends of mine and Rich's, and they've been talking to us for a long time about something that they've been trying to put together and orchestrate and coordinate and just build. You know, it's really, really hard to organize events like this, and, you know, even just getting all the admins and the graphics and the YouTube channel. They did so much great work putting this all together, and something they've talked about for a really, really long time. So I'm really excited to be here and be a part of this, and doing it with my buddy Rich, who is casting the other matches. So here we go. Mao and Rigo both falling into that second slot. You see Rayo and BMX13 going to be closing things out for their respective countries, and Gio Turi and Kyle X are going to lead things off. Gio for Bolivia and Kyle for El Salvador. So who you guys got? Who you think's going to take game number 1 of King of the Hill? Here we go. Looks like they were half a second late getting us in the game, but that's okay. We know what happened. Looks like a miner came in and was caught by Skellies in a bar barrel. Now we see wall breakers going left for Kyle, and an E-Wiz right on top to clean all that up and stop these minions. So nice positive trades there for Gio. So Bandit meets Bandit. And no Skellies for Gio to make it. The Bandit dash into the skeletons first. Let his Bandit stay alive. Or prevail. So good poison value coming in. E-Wiz will not survive. Oh, it does survive! So, and that's why you saw a little bit of BM coming out there from Kyle. But then again, once again, very well played. Even on that second part of the defense. So a little bit of poison value does come in, but you see Kyle now with a lot of minor chip damage in on the bottom right-hand side. So Baby Dragon high, Skellies in the back, not worth the zap. Kind of trading blow for blow right now, but Kyle definitely out to a strong lead. And this is the connection on the bar barrel roll, which would have been nice. Obviously, not going to be a game changer, but it would have been nice for Gio to hit both. And a great mini pickup, mini P.E.K.K.A. pickup, mini P.E.K.K.A. pickup, mini P.E.K.K.A. pickup. Wallbreakers right side of the board. Skeletons there, going to be a nice positive trade. But Zap is in late and the bar barrel's in late. I'm curious if either of those were actually necessary. Gio now going P.E.K.K.A. in the back, and we'll see if Kyle decides to go left-hand lane. Yes, he does. Kyle going all out in the left-hand lane. That miner is going to be basically just a wasted 3 elixir at this point. Oh, so he backs it up with the E-Wiz. E-Wiz does take the Mega Knight charge, but that P.E.K.K.A., she's just off in her own world, doing her thing. Bandit connects. E-Wiz still there, creating a little bit of space, and, you know, the P.E.K.K.A. completely unsupported to the right-hand side is a total bummer for Gio. I think Gio was trying to get maybe the P.E.K.K.A. to turn and aggro on top of that Mega Knight, help out with defense, but, you know, here we are. Zap, keeping that Bandit off the board. That Bandit for Kyle getting a ton of value. Miner to the backhand side of the left-hand tower, and those Bandits are just relentless. The cycle from Kyle is relentless. So now finally a pretty big counter push here, but you know the Mega Knight was going to come down. You can just completely ignore the Miner. They're the minions to support. Wall breakers behind. Maybe Miner in late. Nope, no Miner. P.E.K.K.A. going to be easily cleaned up with this E-Wiz. Bandit to catch Bandit, keep that mini P.E.K.K.A. alive. And a really nice bar barrel there. But this minor damage is starting to hurt. 774 to 1806. 1 minute remains. And Gio, yep, looking to get a P.E.K.K.A down in the back and kind of go for his last-ditch effort to steal this game. Cycling the bandit to the right, just enough. Make sure that it doesn't lose that right-hand tower. But we all know the battle is really about what's going on here in the left. So another P.E.K.K.A is down, 30 seconds remaining. Mini P.E.K.K.A breaking on through. Bandit is going to be there to catch, along with some Skellies. Bandit turns around and helps out with the Miner. But Gio just not able to create enough of an offensive presence. 17 seconds, 16 seconds remain. Now is his last chance. He's got to get that Miner in. There's the poison he was on. Mega Knight comes down, and not going to be enough for Gio. So Kyle starts off early, going to take out Gio, and now we're going to see Mao come out once again after his quick 1v1 set, his quick 2-0 1v1 set, to where he has to take down Kyle and then run up against Rigo once again. That was tough. You know, minor P.E.K.K.A poison decks are... They're interesting, right? Because they're clearly not bridge spam decks. You're not able to create a massive amount of pressure at the river for a very cheap cost. But as you saw in a game like that, when your opponent is able to create a big offense in the opposite lane for also very, very cheap, how are you supposed to be able to get your P.E.K.K.A down, support your P.E.K.K.A, get those units across the river, and then get your Miner down as well to get that chip damage in on the tower? And as you just saw, the ability to create a big presence offensively in whatever lane that the P.E.K.K.A poison wasn't going towards, or the P.E.K.K.A Miner wasn't going towards, there was just no way for him to manage the game. Just wasn't able to do it. Kyle did such a good job of keeping up the pressure on both sides of the map so that Gio could never actually get in and get those poisons, get those miners in with the P.E.K.K.A. So here we go. Game number 2, and it looks like we're getting a little bit of lag here from the server, but hopefully it'll clean up. So now maybe going with Magic Archer in this. Wall breakers. Kyle could be going Mortar. He could. There are wall breakers from Mao. Ah, I knew it wasn't going to be Mortar. Can't close my door, man. If I close my door, then my dog can't come in now. Plus, I got the whole house, so what am I worried about? So Balloon comes down, supported by that Musketeer. Musketeer going to help clean up the bomb tower. Bomb tower should be just enough to deal with everything. Zed decides to go with a NATO and activate King Tower. So King Tower activation will be really, really nice as he's able to pull the units towards the center of his side of the map and get that King Cannon on top to help with the support troops, whether it's the Miner, whether it's the Goblins, or whether it's just the Balloon. So one of the hardest things to deal with when playing against these types of balloon cycle decks is how quick the cycle is, but you see on the other side of the map, Mao here has a very, very quick cycle. He's got NATO, he's got the Bomb Tower, he's got the Magic Archer, so Kyle's going to have to do a very good job of catching his opponent out of cycle with the Magic Archer. So you see right here exactly what we're talking about. Magic Archer's going left, so now he has to use the Bomb Tower on the right, but the cycle is so quick that he should be able to get back around to either a NATO or another Magic Archer every single time. So I don't know if Kyle needs to rely on death damage plus minor chip and just continue to defend cheaply, but even that right there, that's 4 elixir spent on 2. So King Tower activation really, really paying off from early on in the game. You saw how quickly that miner went down, which means that this balloon just does not have a tank. And now able to send in another miner. This time the poison should come in. Yep, there's the poison to get on top. I figured the only thing that he can do to defend is either play bats or goblins on top, so you're going to get some good poison value. So Miner in. There's the bomb tower. Miner on top of the bomb tower, as well as the musketeer. There's the NATO, though, and that NATO just makes it so difficult to deal with. Your balloon essentially has to break through and get from the river to the tower twice every single offense, and there's no way to have just a miner tank long enough to do that. You need your miner plus your bar barrel. You might even need your goblins as well. When you have a magic archer, bomb tower, and NATO, and the death damage from the bomb tower all assisting your opponent's defense. So Mao in a very, very nice matchup as of right now. Miner to the inside, does connect once again. That's good poison value. I don't know if he'll take it. Doesn't need to, he's looking for the magic archer chip. So now Miner on top of Magic Archer. Now you don't really need to worry about the next balloon push, right? Because now there's no tank for the balloon, and you know you can defend the balloon easily. So there's the great poison value. Going to clean up the goblins, going to take out the musketeer along with the help of this Magic Archer. Another high bomb tower. Again, Kyle is taking the Magic Archer off the board, but he's spending so much on defense and still taking in a lot of damage. So there's the barb that we're talking about, the bar barrel and the miner. So we're saying 2 layers of you know, kind of tankage for that balloon, but Magic Archer plus NATO just makes it impossible with that bomb tower. And I know I'm repeating myself, but that's just what's happening over and over. So now the miner comes in, gotta get on top of the Magic Archer. There it is, but the balloon is already too low. Finally get some of that miner chip damage in. 337, another balloon comes down. You know NATO's in cycle. So maybe NATO to pull all that together. No? Late bomb tower. Alright. Bomb tower gonna clean all this up. There's the poison. Magic Archer. Wall breakers going on through. Still have the NATO. There's the NATO. Miner in on the tower. Does not connect, but there's the miner and the poison. Mao does it once again. That is 3 in a row, and Rigo going to come back out for El Salvador and see if he can even things up. Whew. That was tough. That was a really tough matchup. That's something that I mentioned going into the very first King of the Hill of the day is, you know, once you get into King of the Hill, it becomes not totally a roll of the dice, but you saw right there, the matchup was so brutal. There was just no way for him to break through. So looks like we got the next game. Nope. I don't think they're actually playing yet. They are. Wow. Okay. All right. So Rigo's already ready to go. Mao is just a machine. This is rapid fire. Let's go. Let's do this. So a rematch of our 1v1 set where Mao swept Rigo. Let's see what Rigo's going to bust out here in King of the Hill. So maybe Miner, Hunter, Poison, what we saw at World Finals, going up against Wall Breakers once again. Or Graveyard. One of the two. Going left, just splitting those cheap units in the back, deciding to see what his opponent decided to defend against, and then supporting those cheap units in the opposite lane. So a nice Fisherman Kite there, going to pull the Valkyrie into the tower, but the towers are focusing on that Baby Dragon at the moment. Nice slow there from the Fisherman, very, very clean defense. So feeling more and more like Graveyard, and I believe Mao does have Poison in this deck. Misses the miner, gets all the swarm troops. Curious to see if we'll start to see more and more fishermen at CRL 2020. I'm okay with it. I was actually kind of... Fisherman was like such an interesting card to have a relationship with, because when it came into the game, it was clearly too strong, and then they nerfed it to Oblivion, which is always a bummer when that happens to cards that were so strong and then they become completely useless. So I'm hoping maybe Fisherman's in a happy place now, and that we'll start to see more of it competitively. Graveyard finally coming out. There's the log, clean up all the skellies. And Miner into the tower. There's the Royal Giant. So, Miner, RG, not exactly what I thought it was going to be, but a deck that we are familiar with. maybe the RG was a little bit aggressive. 6 elixir to defend, fireball up, since it is Royal Giant as opposed to just being minor poison. You see the fireball coming down, but kind of wishing, maybe Mao wishing he was playing minor poison right now, because with 186 remaining on the tower, that is going to be a good game for him. So Rigo gets swept in the 1v1 set, but comes back and picks up a win when it matters. So Rayo now for Bolivia has to take out Rigo and BMX 13 in order for Bolivia to win the day. Rigo, on the other hand of it, in a great spot, a comfortable position to be in. You know, being in that second spot, only having one player left to eliminate, and having someone behind you to know that, you know, if it's a bad matchup, if you make a mental mistake, you know, there's still someone else on your squad that can bring home the W. It takes a lot of that pressure, alleviates a ton of the pressure that comes in King of the Hill. You know, when essentially loser goes home, winner take all in King of the Hill, and if you find yourself in the position that that he's in right now, it's comfortable. It's a good spot to be in. Maybe play your comfort deck. I don't know. How well do these people know you? How well do they know your archetypes? How well do they know what your comfort decks are? Maybe bust it out. Yeah, it felt like that that RG was just a little bit too aggressive at the end, or near the end there, when you saw that big time graveyard come in. It was after a Royal Giant was played very, very high at the river, didn't get a lot of defensive support, and alternatively the graveyard player has all these really healthy units on the board, able to tank for the graveyard, and you know, you don't have poison, you got fireball and you got logs, so you got to be really, really careful with how you're going to play your defense. So here we go. Game number 4, Rigo. So Spear Goblin split in the back. We've been seeing a lot of that minor Mega Knight Skeleton Barrel deck coming out. It's a very, really strong Zap bait deck, so maybe that's what we're going to see here from Rayo. It's definitely a deck that I really enjoy playing, and so far it does feel like it's probably going to be that. So that is exactly what we're going to see. And on the other side of it, the Battle Healer. Battle Healer, a card that has so much hate in the game. So many people just hate the Battle Healer, but it does feel like it's finally found a good spot in the meta and a good balance. So nice aggressive Mega Knight there. Going to get a few hits in from these Spear Goblins, unless, yep, there's a Battle Hero to come down, clean it all up. Saw that the Mega Knight plus Spear Goblins were all going to get some damage in on that tower. Rigo says, no, thank you. So, Magic Archer there, going to clean up, help with the Miner, help with the Bats. Maybe get a Bandit down in front, or just going to let it go. So Inferno going to run into this Night Witch, and no support for the Night Witch. Skeleton Barrel, nice cheap way to create a little bit of space from those bats, make sure that Night Witch stays off the board, and just creates some small bit of offense. You see here, this is a good place to drop the Mega Knight, but maybe won't have to. The Ewa stays back, so this feels like a moment where Rayo needs to stop putting units into this lane. So there you go, there's the snowball. And yeah, because it felt like that there was too much piling up on the one side of the map that his opponent could easily go opposite, and that's exactly what happened. So Skelly Barrel does do a bit of tankage for those Magic Archers. We've got 2 healthy Magic Archers on the tower with the support of that Barb Barrel, and a ton of damage coming in for Rigo. So this is tough because, you know, Rigo has got a lot of answers to all the splash, right? I mean, you've got the Ewiz, you've got the Barb Barrel, you got the Magic Archer. All those going to do so much, and Ram Rider hasn't been using it a ton on offense, but you can use it on defense. You can keep these units at bay, and the Ram Rider is actually pretty tanky, so we'll see. So Skelly Barrel naked left-hand lane. Magic Archer played in a great spot. Going to clean up the bats, clean up the skeletons. So that becomes 5 for 4 trade right there, and a good counter push in the right-hand lane. So now that Ram Rider's going to demand a response, which is going to mean damage on the right. Bandit connects. Mega Knight comes down just a second late. Getting spread very thin. Bar Barrel, interesting Bar Barrel to clean up the Spear Goblins, but Miner going to go on top of the Magic Archer. There it is, but of course Ewiz comes down on top of the Skeletons and the high Battle Healer. The Battle Healer has so much more health than you feel like sometimes. And Bandit there to kind of kite. It looked like it was to kite the Inferno, but just missed by a hair. And Ram Rider does not connect. 100 HP remains, but Ewiz and the Magic Archer do it on the right-hand side of the board. So Rigo comes back after a rough 1v1 and takes down Mao, gets a little bit of revenge, and then takes out Rayo. So just like that, that is going to do it for match number 2 on the day. El Salvador taking the win there with some really nice plays from Rigo, and you know, that's what you got to do. That's what you got to do in competitive play, right? If you're the 1v1 guy and you go out there and you drop the ball, or you have bad matchups, or you just don't play the way that you want to, and you're still out for King of the Hill because you are a head-to-head specialist, you've got to be able to drop all the emotion, all the stuff that happened earlier on in the match, earlier on in the sets, and just go into it with a clean mind. And he did exactly that. Because for a minute there, you know, Mao did have an incredible matchup in his first game of King of the Hill, but, you know, what we saw him do to Rigo in the 1v1 set, you'd feel like maybe it's going to go his way again. So here are some stats for us to take a look at. 4 of those Ram Riders did end up coming down, but again, the Magic Archers, 7 Magic Archers on the board. Magic Archers are so frustrating to deal with, especially when you're playing this deck that Rayo came out with. The Magic Archer was able to clean up the Skeleton Barrel plus Bats plus Miner pretty easily. And that's a massive positive trade for all 3 of those. Even if it's just the Barrel plus the Bats, that's still a good trade for you every single time. And Rigo took that 10 times out of 10. So a lot of really nice decision making there by Rigo. A lot of splash damage there to help out with his matchup. Again, every time that the Magic Archer wasn't in cycle, or the Bar Barrel wasn't in cycle, he had the Ewiz. And anytime the Battle Healer wasn't in cycle, he had the Bandit and the Ram Rider. And of course, the Ram Rider able to create a lot of pressure in the opposite lane regularly. And it wasn't even about connecting with the Ram Rider. Obviously, connecting with the Ram Rider is great. And of course, that's something that Rigo wants to do. But it was really about putting up enough pressure in that lane with the Ram Rider. It was usually a Ram Rider plus a Magic Archer that had survived, which is why you saw those Magic Archers being cycled offset towards the weaker tower, or excuse me, towards the tower that he wasn't focusing on. So very well played. Yeah, you can see where we're at. Argentina and El Salvador, the 2 that we've seen today in Group F. Bolivia and Nicaragua, their opponents on the day. Obviously, El Salvador taking out Bolivia, Argentina taking out Nicaragua, and that's going to do it for the first round of matches. That's Groups A all the way through F. So what we're going to get up next, I believe, should be. Give me one moment. I know what I'm doing here. So next up, we're going to get Brazil versus Costa Rica, and then Chile versus Uruguay. And we saw Brazil 2-0 Uruguay, and we saw Chile 2-1 Costa Rica. So Brazil and Chile coming off of some wins. Obviously, Costa Rica and Uruguay looking to bounce back. And I'm excited. I'm very excited. These matches have been a lot of fun. We got about a 10-minute break because that set, or those matches, went a little bit faster than we had anticipated. So, like I said before, go get a drink, go get a snack, and come back and join us in just about 10 minutes. right, so I'm excited about this one. This is a big one. We've got Brazil and Costa Rica. Let's take a look at the groups really quickly. This is Group H. You can see there Costa Rica and Uruguay, each fallen once. Chile and Brazil, the two victors there, and Brazil has a stacked squad. Honestly, I'm very, very curious to see who is going to take down Brazil. You know, when you've got that many heavy hitters on your squad, you got that many, you know, stars of the game. We'll get into their lineups in just a minute, but in case you don't know, they've got Luke Dubs, Renan Cavas, Samuel Basoto, Serge TS, Wallace, and Coco RX. And, you know, considering that 4 of those players are and have been in CRL, that's you know, that could be pretty tough. It'd be pretty tough to go up against. So Costa Rica looking to bounce back against a big time opponent in Brazil. And there you see right there today active, we've got Serge TS, Renan Cava, Samuel Basoto, and of course Luke Dubs. On the other side of it, you got Stuart, Kevin, Bryant, and Elio 27. Looking to make some names for themselves, and what a great way to get your first win other than over Brazil. Curious to see who comes out. Last time we saw Renan Cava and Serge TS play in the 2v2, and on the other side of it in the 1v1 was all Samuel Basoto, who has been playing very, very well lately. I've been following what he's been doing on Twitter very closely, and he's what you call the real deal, as they say. So, should be getting those matches underway in just a moment. Excuse me. And if you did not see what Costa Rica did, they brought out Kevin and Stuart in the 2v2. They went 2-1 in games. And then they ended up dropping that 1v1 set where Fabian got swept. And then in King of the Hill, they were able to pick up a couple wins, but not able to take home the win on the day. So here are our lineups for 2v2. Serge TS and Renan Cava again, going up against Kevin and Stuart. And this is tough, right? Like, this is a very, very strong 2v2 duo here from Brazil at the bottom of your screen. 2 guys that are really, really respected in CRL for their 2v2 prowess. And we'll see how they do here. Magic Archer out early. Going to get a little bit of chip in on that tower to help out with that minor damage they got. So far, we're seeing not a whole lot, but wall breakers. 2 sets of wall breakers, that is, coming out from Costa Rica. And with how many spells are on the board, with how many cheap units are on the board, it's going to be interesting to see how well wall breakers really fare in 2v2. You can stop them with the zap, you can stop them with snowball, log, skellies, just so much. So first time we're seeing the giant skeleton today, as it was banned in our prior 2 matches. Mega Knight being banned by Costa Rica, and Baby Dragon being banned by Brazil. Baby Dragon, one of the favorites in 2v2, one of the best cards in 2v2. And that mini P.E.K.K.A just not able to get around and help out that giant skeleton, but now actually the giant skeleton going to be there to clean up some of these troops. So Miner in plus wall breakers this time, and bomb tower can always be a good response to that. You can always hold the bomb tower for a bit, wait and see where that miner populates, and then get the bomb tower down to soak up the wall breaker damage and help out with the miner. So interesting to see the Royal Recruits. Royal Recruits were really, really popular in 2v2 for a while, and then they just completely dropped off because of the change in the meta. So a really nice log there to help that Magic Archer out. Magic Archer will clean up. 1 Royal Recruit stab does get in, but ended up spending a lot to get very little where Stuart and Kevin. 16 elixir in the hands of the Brazilians. Back up plus Giant Skeleton. We'll get another Magic Archer down, ideally. So Dark Prince is turned around. Snowball has to come in to make sure those units do not make their way directly to the tower and end up taking out the Musketeer along the way. Miner into the back, cleans up the Dark Goblin. If those shields stay on the recruits, then that Giant Skeleton Bomb becomes so much less effective. So 1 shield remained. Kevin Stewart doing a very good job of keeping this game under control. But there you go, Magic Archer behind the giant skeleton, and that is going to be a huge amount of damage. Miner's in, Magic Archer is still there, and the poison is down. That should pretty much just take the tower out. It almost felt like they were just toying with them until they were like, all right, this is all we need to do. We just need to get the giant skeleton back down. We see how they're going to defend. There's going to be tons of recruits right there. You can just line that Magic Archer up, and there's no way to break through the giant skeleton, right? You can't just get around the giant skeleton unless you can send a miner in right on top of that Magic Archer. They didn't have the spell power for it, so Magic Archer sitting back, sitting pretty. You never want to drop too much on top of the giant skeleton to try to take out the Magic Archer, because then the bomb goes off and you've just lost so much more elixir. So that was a really, really... It felt like a close or tight back and forth game, but then you saw what happened there when the Brazilians were like, okay, that was fun. Time's about to tick out. Let's just win this game real quick. Giant Skeleton, Mini P.E.K.K.A, Magic Archer behind, Miner on the tower. Good game. Well played. Good luck. I don't know, like... I'm not exactly sure how I feel about the Magic Archer right now. What do you guys think in the chat? Tell me how you're feeling about the Magic Archer. Do you think it's still overpowered? Do you think that it's, you know, it's still such like a high skill cap card that it doesn't really matter? Let's take a look at the stats here from that game, and you see there are 3 Magic Archers coming out from Surge TS, and that one Magic Archer was really the difference maker. 3 Giant Skeletons down as well, being cycled pretty regularly. A lot of Royal Recruits came out, but just not a lot of damage came from those Royal Recruits. You look at their opponents, and you see Snowball, Dark Prince, Magic Archer, Bomb Tower, and Log, and even the Poison. All of those cards are so strong against the Royal Recruits, and you can still get some good damage out of it. And the other side of it is that you can use the Bomb Tower almost every single time to just look for the wall breakers, right? If you're going to use everything else to focus on the Royal Recruits and dealing with that build-up and dealing with that wall of units coming down the lane, then all you really need to do is hold the Bomb Tower for the wall breakers, because they're not going to go miner wall breakers on opposite sides of the map. It's not going to send one set left and one set right. You just got to save that Bomb Tower and figure out what they're really committing to. So that was very, very well played by the Brazilians, just controlling the game, playing comfortably, getting that minor chip damage in where they could. Didn't even need to use the Fireball, because Fireball becomes exponentially less effective against the Royal Recruits. And we'll see if Surge TS and Hen Kava are going to repeat what they did in their very first matchup. And I was talking to Rich about it, and it was actually before I had a chance to take a look at the rosters for everyone, and also I'd seen all the announcements of all the teams, and you know, there's so many teams, so many great players out there, you kind of forget who lands where. So now, you know, getting ready for today and taking a look at these squads and looking at Brazil is just, it's stacked, man. It's about as stacked as it gets. So, minor wall breakers now from the Brazilians. The other side of it, we see a Prince, Inferno, and Poison. So pretty expensive so far. So it looks like kind of one version of the very, very popular log bait deck right now, and here we go again. Magic Archer lining up behind that Giant Skeleton, getting some great chip damage in. Tons of log value there in the left-hand lane. Dark Goblin goes left along with the Princess, and that is not the trade you want to make. 6 for 2. So Minor Wall Breakers comes in. Dark Prince should be able to clean it up, and looks like the Costa Ricans are getting a little frustrated. Throws out a little bit of BM there, the Yawning Princess. One of my favorites. That actually is my favorite BM to send out, is the Yawning Princess, and then shortly followed by the Eye Rolling Goblin. All-time favorite emote, the Screaming Hog Rider. So 1403 already taken down on that top right hand, taken down to 1403 already is that top right hand tower, and the other 3 towers essentially untouched.
Let's go.
So Princess there cycled towards the weaker tower. Looks like, you know, free spell value, but they're going to wait and see what their opponent lines up. Magic Archer going to pick off that Princess. There it is. And Prince does not hit the Magic Archer. Does distract the Giant Skeleton, so Wall Breakers come in right behind. And one will connect. No, it does not. what a Magic Archer arrow does. And Miner to the back, Poison on top, everything NATO together. Rascal Girl is going to go down, Dark Goblin going to go down, excuse me. Magic Archer helps with the Rascal Boy, and 534 remains. This is a bloodbath, as they call it. So Magic Archer played way in the back to deal with the freeze. If it does come, there is the freeze, or poison, who knows. But it was a freeze in this case. Magic Archer safe nonetheless. And both the princes turned, so Log does have to come out on top of that. Those wall breakers. See here, kind of loading up at the river, gives another great bit of spell value. Now just a high Valkyrie needs to be played. Instead they go Bomb Tower. One Dark Goblin does connect, so a NATO comes out to keep him off the tower. And 2 up, 2 down. Very, very nice 2v2 set there from Surge and Hen and Kava. Obviously, the Costa Rica's not feeling very, very happy about that. And it's tough, right? Because they kind of just kept giving them that Magic Archer value. Now, I know it's hard to tell because you don't know what deck they're going to run, and, you know, they just did it. They just closed out a game with it. Are they going to open a game with it? And they did. They did, and they got some good damage in. But I think really what it was when you're playing Logbait in 2v2, and you know, you look at some of the best 2v2 duos in the world, and even, you know, some like Sam and Morton, who, you know, Morton is one of the best Logbait players, period, and one of the best players in the game, along with being arguably one of the best 2v2 players there is. Even then, you don't see them doing Logbait a lot, and when they do, you have to really make sure you're never giving your opponent a ton of spell value, right? Because anytime you line things up, that one log can get you 4 elixir back. I mean, that's what that was. It was a 2 elixir log that took out a Dark Goblin and a Princess. That's a 2 for 6. That's bad no matter who you are, no matter when you're playing, but especially early on in a game in 2v2 with the elixir flowing more slowly and with those cards being very annoying to deal with. To give that much spell value to your opponent, kind of doing it over and over, because really what happens is when you give that spell value early on, it doesn't put your opponent in a weird cycle, right? So let's say you're playing Logbait, and let's say the Dark Goblin goes right and the Princess goes left in that moment. Your opponent then has to pick and choose where to use their spells. And if that is a thing that they have to do all throughout the game, that is when your Logbait kind of starts to break through. That's when you're able to keep more princesses or stack princesses on the board. And either way, here we are. We got Logbait plus Graveyard, essentially, here from the Costa Ricans going up against the Brazilians who ran, you know, essentially just minor wall breakers with Magic Archer. You got the Giant Skeleton there to help clean up with defense, and of course the Rocket there as well to deal with any ton of units piling up, and of course maybe get that last hit in on the tower. Poison's there as well to help deal with both those graveyards. You saw 2 graveyards come down, and you can see Surge TS, he used poisons twice. Wasn't necessarily hand in hand, but you're not going to win a game with Graveyard as your win condition if you only get 2 down. So, here we go. 2v2 in the bag. We'll see if Basoto ends up coming out for the Brazilians once again. Someone here asking, why am I watching myself? I'm watching myself so I can watch the chat, just so I can hear how nice all you people are being, right? Because that's what we're doing in the chat. We're being loving, supportive, kind people that are enjoying watching Clash Royale. So, as we wait for these 1v1 stars to get ready, you can go and take a look at those numbers from before that I was talking about with Samuel Basoto for Brazil. Coming out and doing a really, really good job for them. Just going 2 up and 2 down very, very quickly. Costa Rica, on the other hand, they brought out Fabian last time. We'll see if they decide to change things up today. Why not, right? If Fabian didn't have a great showing, maybe change things up, give someone else a chance, especially when you're going up against someone like Basoto. But yeah, I'm excited to see him play. I always love watching him play, and I know that all of these guys are getting ready for CRL 2020, so it will be Basoto once again. And on the other side of it, we've got Brian 13 coming out for Costa Rica. So should be a very interesting matchup here. We'll see what these guys are going to come out with, and you know, this is a big moment for Brian here. This would be a great moment to put a big win under his belt and keep his squad alive and bring this thing on to King of the Hill, because as we all know, anything can happen in King of the Hill. So here we go, 1v1. Those graphics aren't correct, but I just told you what was going on. We got Samuel going up against Brian. Mini Pekka catches that miner. Mini P.E.K.K.A everywhere. So is a Musketeer. Very curious about the Miner nerf. Very curious, very scared. I love the Miner. One of my favorite cards in the game, and looks like it's finally time. So bats do come down, but still get a connection from those wall breakers. Minions on the other side going to get supported by this Barb Barrel. Barb Barrel not down in time to tank for the first minion, but does tank for the other two. So Zap comes out for Brian, and he's down 4 elixir. 3 elixir. So defensive miner coming out from Basoto, probably trying to fix his cycle a little bit. Obviously not the card that he wants to use to stop that Musketeer, but sometimes you just have to. So we'll see an opposite lane hit right now. Yes, we will. There, the wall breaker's coming down. You know, usually if you can create any sort of offense in the opposite lane, you don't want to sell out, because if you don't defend correctly, you've just lost the game, but just creating a little bit of pressure is always a good idea. So Zap comes in, gets the Zap on top of the bats and the Sparky for a very, very nice cleanup here. I don't know if he could have done that much better. I think that no matter what he was going to do, because he got the damage in from his wall breakers, he was going to have to take some damage. So maybe a high Mini P.E.K.K.A? Nope. And Mini P.E.K.K.A does connect in the bottom left, so evening things up. Goes opposite lane, plus the wall breakers a second late. That's going to come down, not going to be enough. I'm actually surprised that Brian played those bats there. I don't think it would have been enough to take out both the wall breakers, and you knew that Zap was probably going to come down, and you know, again, that the Mega Knight is the last card usually in these decks. So kind of loading things up at the river, but a nice Zap comes in from Brian. What a Zap, man. That is a beautiful, beautiful knowledge of interactions, and that Zap coming in just in time to allow that Sparky to get one more hit in. So we are all even here as we go into this 2-tower game. And you know, the original archetype that was the Miner Wall Breakers plus Magic Archer deck had a lot of trouble holding its ground in a 2-tower game. This version, or this variant, these variants with the Mega Knight do a little bit better, but still, your heaviest hitting card, your heaviest hitting units, the Wall Breakers, are just not as effective as you'd like them to be in a 2-tower game. So here we go. Gonna soak all that up with the Zap there. Mini P.E.K.K.A comes in, Barb on top. Now Mini P.E.K.K.A gonna turn around and get on top of the Giant. Miner plus Wall Breakers going to connect in the top left-hand side, and that was beautifully orchestrated by Basoto. He knew exactly how much pressure he needed to put on the King Tower. He knew how he was going to defend that push very efficiently, and then still have the cycle in the right place to get the wall breakers protected by that Miner and a huge hit on the King Tower. That was beautiful. So Mega Knight going to come down, but that's a lot of single target damage between the Dark Prince and the Mini P.E.K.K.A there. Barb going to come in. Barb, second late? Nope. Yeah, Mini P.E.K.K.A going to connect. 2 hits from that Mini P.E.K.K.A. Miner has to come in. Minions on top. Sparky stays locked on the King Tower. Wow. Wow. That, man. The Sparky MVP of the day, doing some work with a sliver of health numerous times. And it felt like Basoto had both of the big time defenses locked down, but that late Zap on the first Princess Tower take, and again, the Zap there at the end to keep the Mini P.E.K.K.A alive, allow the Mini P.E.K.K.A to get a hit in, and oh, man, that Sparky hit was brutal. You saw the wall breakers come down at the final second, but not able to push that Sparky back or retarget that Sparky. Big shot comes in, and that's it. So Basoto loses his first 1v1 game, though, thus far at the No-Tilt Worlds, and a really, really nice showing. I didn't think he had it, I'll be honest. I thought that Basoto was going to be able to defend out that left-hand side, but that last Zap that came in took out the tower, and all of a sudden he found himself in what was the driver's seat, or at least in control for the entirety of that game. Ended up being behind immediately, because even though he still orchestrated that push really well, which he did, you got to think of all the things that happened in order for that to go the way that it did. He was able to get the big push on the right-hand lane with the Mega Knight plus the minions, plus to go to the King Tower. He was able to have the Barb Barrel and the Mini P.E.K.K.A in cycle to help out with the Sparky, and then he still had the Miner and Wall Breakers ready. So it was a beautiful sequence there from Basoto, but he wasn't able to put it together again, and unfortunately, Sparkies do not allow much room for forgiveness when making mistakes defensively. The bats, the zapped bats, when I said it originally, I didn't think Brian should have played the bats that ended up getting zapped off the board, but that zap not being there to help out with the Sparky was the game changer. So that actually ended up baiting out a mistake from Basoto, because honestly what Basoto should have done is not zap the bats. One of the wall breakers would have still connected, and then he could have found himself using that zap on defense. So here we go. Looks like Brian now going to take a page out of his opponent's book and probably going to see that Bandit Wall Breakers Mega Knight deck. Basoto could be running the same thing. We'll see. So Barb Barrel not back in cycle. There it is. Just one card away. Bandit, Bandit. Ewers. Yep, there's Ewers. And no connection there. Electro Wiz does sneak in front of the Bandit. Nice zap. Gonna take that Musketeer off the board and back to 0. Nice 2 elixir lead here for Basoto, so he sends in the Miner to the front. Goblins played low just in case his opponent decided to send in the Miner with. Goblins then would have went to the Miner, and then he would have been able to defend the Wall Breakers with his E-Wiz. So a nice swerve here from Brian, but still not able to get those Wall Breakers to connect. That was about as close as it gets. So Barb on the tower. E-Wiz going to get a couple zaps in. Trying to save his E-Wiz for the opposite lane. Barb Barrel comes down, no Miner to support. Instead recognizing that he had to use his Miner defensively because that Baby Dragon supporting the Bandit would have made the quick work of the Goblins. Bandit, Miner, Bats, left-hand lane. Bandit goes to the back. E-Wiz up high. E-Wiz going to get eaten alive by that push, and the late Barb Barrel allows the Bandit to connect. Goblins come down as well, but also a second late. So some nice Mega Knight value there, but ends up dropping that tower down lower than his other tower. So they have to get some help on these wall breakers. There's the E-Wiz to support. And all of a sudden, a very, very nice counter push coming in here. Bandit getting tanked for by the Barb now. And this is a big, big push for Basoto to keep sending in. Miner going to go to the back now. Doesn't matter what's happening on the front end. Miner there getting nice chip in and should be getting close to a P.E.K.K.A again. No, decides to split up his offense. Is Brian, making it so that Basoto cannot just keep pouring it on the left-hand lane. Miner to the back, not picked up by the Mega Knight. Always a bummer when you miss that drop with your Mega Knight. E-Wiz coming in late. Not. Wall breakers connect again. Both wall breakers on the right-hand side, along with a ton of Miner chip damage, and all of a sudden, Basoto finds himself not in the lead anymore. And this P.E.K.K.A is not as healthy as he would have liked. A great Miner to turn that Musketeer around. Poison in, Tower not quite down yet, but that Baby Dragon should turn and belch. There it is, Baby Dragon on the tower, and that's going to do it. We are all even as we get into game number 3. Such a great back and forth battle. I got nothing but praise for both of these guys. Obviously, you can't play perfectly throughout the entirety of 5 minutes, but that was very, very well played. Basoto was basically in control again that entire game, but Brian really started to turn things around at the end by creating just enough pressure in the left-hand lane or the opposite lane, and then setting a minor plus wall breakers in the opposite. You know, it's 5 elixir, but it does so much freaking damage, and Basoto was able to eat a handful of those. But then before you knew it, he was having to play defense on both sides of the map. And that's what you really want to do when you're playing with that deck, right? When you're able to create that much damage with only 5 elixir as you get into double elixir time and into overtime and you know, late into overtime, the ability to create that much offense for that cheap is why these decks are so popular right now. They're why these decks are so dominant. So, yeah, we'll see what's happening. We've seen wall breakers win, I think, in Game 1 and in Game 2 now, just from different players. So, let's see. Let's see what happens. Oh, wait, no, excuse me. The one thing that I realized was well, let's look at these stats here. I was going to say the P.E.K.K.A.s that came out very late in the game, he only got 2 P.E.K.K.A.s down, only 3 Mega Knights on the other side of it. You see 9 Bandits coming out from both of these players. 8 Miners from Brian, 6 from Basoto. But that poison, the 3 poisons, that damage always adds up. And then, you know, the mini or the P.E.K.K.A. countering the Mega Knight wasn't something that really came into play that much in that game. You saw it happen a couple times. It was more so, I think, to get enough pressure with the Mega Knight that you would bait out the P.E.K.K.A. from Basoto. Then you could turn around and drop a minor plus wall breakers in the right-hand lane or the opposite lane. So Basoto takes 1, game number 2. Brian takes game number 1. Who you guys got? Game number 3. Is it the Brazilian? Is he going to win it? They going to do another quick 2-set sweep? Or will they be taken to King of the Hill and really be tested by Costa Rica, who, you know, lost their first match but have something to prove today? Alright, so just waiting for them to get started here. Got one more 1v1 game, and then maybe, just maybe, some King of the Hill. And to close out our day, we've got Chile and Uruguay. Oh, there we go. I hear it. So Brian 13, top of your screen. Samuel Basoto on the bottom of your screen. We are tied at 1, and if Brazil can take this game, they will take the match. And if not, Costa Rica will take them to King of the Hill. And our friends in Mexico, who we are streaming from, are in charge of graphics, so they should be updating that anytime soon. Firecracker coming out. Love the Firecracker. I still love the Firecracker. I know a lot of people kind of hate the Firecracker and they think it's like mechanically broken. And I remember watching, I think, Oxalate streaming, and he was talking. He's like, everything that I know about Clash Royale, I feel like I have to forget when I play with the Firecracker. So this deck that Basoto's running was pretty popular about a month ago, and not as popular now, but still definitely strong. Or excuse me, that Brian is running, not Basoto. So Hunter comes down late, so it does allow that balloon to get a drop in. Now Hunter very healthy. Going to be right behind that Mini P.E.K.K.A. Mini P.E.K.K.A. not going to be a threat, but the Hunter will definitely do some damage. So maybe some Skellies, Bats, there we go. Skellies, Goblins, that's what I meant to say. Magic Archer cycled in the back, always a safe move. Especially when you have that Hunter there to help clean up the balloon. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and use an Earthquake there to clean all that stuff off the board. Get a little bit of tower damage in. And a perfect lineup there with the mini P.E.K.K.A for one shot. And now we got to see what that Hunter is going to do, where that Hunter is going to come down. Hunter comes down just a little bit late. Soto making this very, very difficult for Brian, who does have answers. He does have the correct responses, but he doesn't have a way to control them, right? He doesn't have like a NATO or a tower to bring things into the center. He's kind of just got to hope that his units fall where they need to and get those shots in. And now 2 times in a row, he saw that Hunter coming down just a little bit late and not able to take that balloon off the board. Now we go to Soto going hardcore in the left-hand lane, just trying to make it so that his opponent cannot create offense on the right. Gets the Goblins behind the Magic Archer. Mini P.E.K.K.A going on through. Balloon gets a drop. Mini P.E.K.K.A on the tower. So even though Brian does take the game, that is going to do it. He gets a tower down, maybe just trying to get some rewards from his Pass Royale. Not able to take that game. So Samuel Basoto ends up taking down Brian 2-2-1 with a very, very nice balloon deck. You know, we saw the balloon deck going up against a Magic Archer, I believe, and a Hunter from before, but, or no, I can't remember if it had both, but there was definitely a deck where it had Magic Archer, Bomb Tower, and NATO, and there was another deck where there was just Hunters. So you saw this time with the Magic Archer and the Hunter both in the hands of Brian, but not able to get them focused on the balloon the way that he needed to. The first time it was a late drop, and the second time Basoto just orchestrated a perfect offense with the miner behind and dealing with all those units on the front end to get that balloon through. And then you saw at the very end of the game, he knew if he created enough pressure in the left-hand lane that his opponent would not be able to focus on getting damage in on the right. So a Magic Archer trying to cross the river gets stopped by Goblins. All of a sudden the balloon drops twice and a mini P.E.K.K.A is on that tower. So very, very well played by the Brazilians. They move on to 2-0, and I know that we're going to have a bit of downtime now before the very last game of the day, because that did go so quickly. And just to remind you guys what that is, it's going to be Uruguay up against Chile, and Chile had a pretty interesting start. So they started off with their 2v2 set. They went 1-2. It was Cabron and Nyano Kid. They lost their 2v2 set, and then they went on to win that 1v1 set 2-0 on the shoulders of Nacho. And then Nacho went ahead to sweep King of the Hill. So Nacho definitely going to be someone that I'm excited to watch play today. And of course their opponents in Uruguay. Get down here. Check them out. Give you guys some numbers. We got Aggressive and Isma. They played the 2v2 set. They went 1-2, and then they lost in the 1v1 set as well. Marcos got swept 0-2. So Uruguay really, really looking to pick up some wins today. Even a set win would be great for them at this point. You know, you don't want to just keep getting swept all the way through. You don't want to just get swept all the way through your entire matches, right? I mean, we're here for a reason. These guys are all here for a reason, so today is the day for them to bounce back. Otherwise, we're just going to hang out. You know, we got, like I said, we've got a little bit more time before the last match of the day, so we will be back in a little bit. How are you guys feeling about the last match? Who you guys think is going to win? All right, just hanging out, waiting on the word. There will be a bit of a delay, so, you know, if you guys want, hang out, get something to drink, get something to snack on, go play a couple games of Clash. What are you guys playing right now? What's your favorite in the meta? 2-0, Brazil, with Costa Rica. Brazil now at the very top of their group. Chile looking to stay right there with them, neck and neck. 2 set sweeps for Brazil. Who is going to be the first squad to take them to King of the Hill, and who's going to be the first squad to take them down? As I said, man, they've got such a stacked roster. Got that many CRL stars on their team. Gonna be very, very tough to keep up with. All right, last match of the day. Let's see if I can get it swapped around on the screen behind me. See what you guys think, huh? What do you guys think? Who's going to win? Who are you pulling for? Who should I be looking out for? That's what I want to know. A lot of wall breakers still. A lot of wall breakers. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I just don't... I don't know. As much as I am not excited about the minor nerf, because I love minor, it's one of my favorite cards in the game, and I love all minor poison, minor chip, mortar minor, all that stuff. It does feel like we might need a minor nerf, especially because of the wall breakers, right? I mean, when you have one card that fits so well into so many different archetypes, it does feel like it needs to be nerfed. I'm just biased. I'm just biased because I love it. I love it so much, and I don't want it to get nerfed. But as you see right here, Rich saying, Uruguay still looked good even against Brazil in the sweep. And again, Brazil, I don't want to talk it to death, but they do have an all-star squad, so this is going to be a moment for them to come back and really show how they fare against some of these other squads that aren't just loaded with CRL pros, CRL vets, CRL all-stars. And, this guy Nacho, as I said earlier, he did really, really well on King of the Hill, and I want to see how he does in 1v1. I want to see how he does, period. It's really exciting for me. I mean, being in CRL for as long as we have, and every season we get a few new players, but doing like the Bren Chong Cup, being involved in something like this, we're able to see so many more names that I have yet to see. So looks like we got about a 22-minute break before we go into the last matchup of the day. You can see right there the schedule. We've got 3 matches that were already played, and of course match 4 coming up next, Uruguay and Chile. I will see you guys in just a bit. All right, I mean, who's ready? Chile, Uruguay. Who is ready to go? I know I'm ready. I know I'm ready. Let's do this. So here we go, taking a look at the standings where people are hanging out. Brazil after that dominant showing there. Up at the very top of Group H. Chile right behind. Uruguay also right behind. I'm very curious to see how this goes. I really am. I heard there was a lot of standouts from my good friend Rich Slayton on both these squads. Nacho being one of them. You can see right there for Chile. Got Nicholas Nacho Cabron. I almost wanted to say Cabroni. And Llano Kid going up against Marcos Isma, Agresef, and Oikawa. And I apologize if I butchered those pronunciations. I'm sure I did. I'm sure that I did, and I apologize if I did. I mean, come on, give a guy a break here. So who do you guys got? What did you guys like about their first two matches? I got to admit, I am the most excited to see Nacho play. I've heard very good things about him from Rich, and I also see what he did on the stat sheets. What'd you guys do during the break? Did you guys have fun? I played some games of 2v2. 2v2 is like my go-to favorite thing to do to just mindlessly get crowns and also to fill my chest slots. So here we go with our 2v2 lineups. Got Agresif and Isma going up against Cabron and Llano Kid. And I will have to take a look here at how these squads fared earlier on. So Uruguay going with the same 2v2 duo that they came out with before. They went 1 and 2. Chile, on the other side of it, looks like they are also going with the same squad. They went 1 and 2. So both of these guys looking to pick up, or both of these squads, both of these countries, respectively, looking to pick up their very first 2v2 set win. I'm really curious to see if we'll see as much minor in 2v2 once it gets nerfed, because even if it gets nerfed, it still is so powerful. It's still one of the only cards in the game that's just able to get right on top of the tower and tank for your units. I mean, and also with the nerf coming in, what do you guys think the appropriate nerf should be? Should it be deploy time? Should it be HP? Should it be damage? What should it be? I gotta know. I want to know. So you see a defensive freeze coming out for Uruguay. And that defensive freeze does allow a bomb drop to come in, or death damage to come in, but not a big-time drop. You got NATO banned on both sides of the board, so Balloon becomes that much more effective. And there it is, just Balloon back-to-back, Miner tanking for it, Snowball comes in on top of the Baby Dragon. That Balloon should get another drop in, and that's going to be towered down early on for Chile here. Cabron and Llano Kid doing a great job, and honestly, I think Isma and Agresef just spent a little bit too much, too carelessly on those defenses. So Giant Skeleton trying to build a big push here in the left-hand lane. Bomb tower comes out. There's the graveyard. That's played just high enough to where that E-Wiz is going to take one out every single time it zaps. Or whatever you want to call it, electroshocks. And there you see a bunch of raged up units crossing the river there. A Mega Knight up front tanking for that Balloon. That Balloon has so much tankage for it. Now finally getting some damage, and it will get another bomb drop in on the tower. Cabron and Llano Kid making this look easy against their opponents from Uruguay. Uruguay now trying to go all in on offense, trying to get something in. Maybe a late freeze is going to come in on top. No, decides to go with the poison instead. There is the freeze. So now we got a poison and freeze with some skellies on the tower, but just not going to be enough to take it down. Still actually behind in damage on single towers here. Obviously, they dropped their one early on, but still not even ahead in the bottom left-hand side. Balloon coming back in, and, you know, curious there with seeing that NATO is banned on both sides of the board. You'd think maybe a building needs to come into play just in case you are going up against Balloon. And you saw right there, the Balloon just able to break through many, many times very easily, almost too easily. You saw the second Balloon that actually came down for Chile was the one that was just minor Balloon. We saw a baby dragon and a snowball dropped on top of it. The miner tanked for so long, the Balloon was still able to get in a drop and take the tower down. So very interesting. Very, very interesting there. I can't imagine that Uruguay is going to come out without a building again this time. I really think, you know, in 2v2 right now, especially with NATO banned, I feel like you got to bust out. I feel like you got to bust out a building. And why not use Bomb Tower? I mean, we saw Inferno Tower used early on. Didn't really work out for that squad, but I think you still need a building here to help out with those balloons. And the fact that, I mean, you don't know your opponent's just going to run balloon, but, you know, if I'm Chile, why wouldn't I try it again, right? Why not try it again if it works so well in game number one? See how your opponent is going to adjust. Probably with a building. Maybe with some more stuns. Maybe they both have snowballs now. Who knows? But why not? You got a game in hand. Try it out if it works so well in game number one. You see right here, we got two balloons coming out from both the players on the Chilean team here. Uruguay on the other side, you know, two freezes came down, one defensive, one offensive from Isma, and only one snowball in hand. So you look at the entire 16 cards on the board there for Uruguay, and you've got one building in the Goblin Cage, but not really a very strong building, and not a building that's going to give you any defensive capability, right? Then you got one snowball, and then an E-Wiz. Otherwise, it's just a freeze, and like using a freeze defensively that early on, you saw it just didn't really work out for them. So, nice matchup there for Chile, but honestly, kind of predictable, right? Again, if there's no NATOs in the game, why not try Balloon? Just try it out. See what your opponent has. You can always lose a game if you need to and come back in game number two, but it's always worth a shot in my mind. So, double NATO ban. Once again, Uruguay drops game number one. Chile with some Balloon dominance. Here we go. Game number two. So Giant Skeleton out again. Obviously, the Giant Skeleton is not banned. It's such a strong card. We saw the Giant Skeleton plus Hog Rider combo a lot in CRL West in the fall. And the other cards that came in conjunction with it were the Lumberjack and the Magic Archer, as opposed to the Musketeer there you saw backing it up. So we'll see if that's something that they're going to be trying to do there from Uruguay. It's a really nice layered offense, and you know, you get that Giant Skeleton up front to tank for the Hog. Giant Skeleton goes down. All the units that are there to help deal with the Giant Skeleton and with the Hog all get blown up with the Giant Bomb, and then the Hog Rider breaks on through to the tower. That's the idea, at least. So Snowball and Mini P.E.K.K.A dropped on top of that. I don't think that's a good use of your 6 elixir. I think that could have been cleaned up for 4, and that extra 2 elixir from the Snowball is just unnecessary. So Giant Skeleton going to get placed right up front in all this, which is going to be really, really nice for Uruguay. Going to clean all those units up, except for the Musketeer, but you know, you still have a very healthy Magic Archer on the board that can line up with this Knight. And they allow the lineup there. Kind of surprised. Might as well get that Mega Minion down just a half second sooner. So now you can see they do have the Lumberjack down, so they're going Balloon again. Double Balloon here. We get the freeze coming out on top of both balloons. Miner in tanking on the tower. One balloon getting focused down by that Inferno Tower. There goes the second one. Rage is there. but the giant skeleton bomb's going to clean everything up. So a nice adjustment here from Uruguay with, you see, you know, the excuse me, with the Inferno Tower. I can speak. Giant skeleton down once again. You see they're tanking for that Hog Rider. Now we get the Earthquake on top of this bomb tower, so Hog Rider still not able to break on through. And this Inferno Tower doing all the work that Uruguay needed. They really needed something to help out with these balloon pushes. They have the freeze. Now also with that Inferno Tower going to make it much, much more difficult. And the freeze coming out for Isma and Aggressive as well, but not able to get the freeze down in time to get that Hog Rider on tower. Lumberjack Loon, right-hand lane. Snowball back. Miner is tanking, so the Inferno has to come down. Really, really nicely played Miner there, and Balloon does break on through. Does not get a drop, but that will do it on the left-hand side. So much pressure on the right, they forget to defend the left. Fireball comes in to take out the Magic Archer and the left-hand tower, and that is a quick 2 up, 2 down for Chile. And Uruguay, I mean, maybe they need to reconsider who they have in the 2v2, but honestly, you know, it was a pretty bad matchup in game number 1. And then in game number 2, it did feel like they did get outplayed by just a little bit there. So, very well played by Chile. Chile now, I'm very curious to see who they bring out in this 1v1 set. I'm wondering if Nacho is going to be the first one out in the 1v1 to try to send this thing home, since it seems like he is kind of the standout head-to-head player. But they've only played one match so far here at NTWorlds. How cool is this, right? How cool is the fact that we basically have the World Cup of Clash Royale now? I love it. I love it. Koji and Manu have been talking about this for a very, very long time. Make sure you can go and give them some love on Twitter. Thank them for putting together this incredible, incredible content for you guys with a lot of the best players in the world, and a lot of players that are trying to prove that they're the best in the world. So you see here, kind of see what was spent on the board. About 22 more elixir spent on troops by the Chileans. Uruguay on the other side got down 6 giant skeletons, but only 4 Hog Riders. So that was their big problem there, just not able to put together that offense that we talked about. You know, the giant skeleton up front, Hog Rider behind, ideally Magic Archer behind that, or Musketeer, or Ewiz, just some sort of range support. They did not have a Rage, and they did not have a Lumberjack, so a little interesting there. I mean, usually, when you see that combination of cards, there's some sort of Rage in the deck, whether it's the Rage spell or the Lumberjack, but decided against that, and maybe that was one of the reasons they had trouble breaking through. You know, that one Earthquake. We only saw the one Earthquake come down on top of the bomb tower, but the Hog Rider was still not able to get on through. So just waiting as we get into the 1v1 set. Who do you think we are going to see, guys? Is it going to be exactly who we saw last time in the 1v1 from both these squads? You know, just to remind you, we did see Nacho in the 1v1 set for Chile. And then, of course, for Uruguay, we saw Marcos come out. 2 very different showings, as Marcos went 0-2 and Nacho went 2-0. And then, of course, Nacho turned things around in that King of the Hill set and went 3-0. So I just want to watch him play. I know I've said it a couple times, but I definitely want to watch him play. Yeah, it's getting dark here. It's getting dark here in SoCal. All right, here we go. Game underway. So it will be Marcos, and it will be Nacho once again. So top of your screen. Seeing a lot of strong cards in the meta right now with the Battle Healer, the Magic Archer and, of course, the Night Witch, but a nice King Tower activation there from Nacho. Nacho going with something tried and true over the last few metas here in Clash Royale, which is going to be minor wall breakers with Magic Archer, and of course that NATO. NATO coupled with Magic Archer is one of the strongest combinations in the game. You talk about defensively, the NATO, Baby Dragon, Ice Wiz all together. Now offensively, the NATO plus the Magic Archer is just crushing. If you've spent all that you can on defense and all of a sudden your opponent NATOs all that stuff in a row, Magic Archer piercing on through, can change a game in a split second. So Ram Rider coming out through. Ram Rider still one of my favorite win conditions in the game. Still incredibly strong, honestly. It's one of the cards that you hear no one really complaining about, and I'm happy about it. I think it's perfectly where it needs to be, but it's still such a strong win condition. Double extra time here. Miner up front. Look at those wall breakers behind so you can break on through. But Marcos has all of the answers so far for Nacho. Nacho needs to do a better job of splitting up his offense, getting a little bit more pressure on the opposite lane. So Miner still goes to the left instead of going to the right now. So we have the Bandit Battle Healer coming down the left-hand lane and ignored Magic Archer in the right. Bomb Tower has to come down to defend, which means that Ram Rider probably going to sit at bay for at least a little bit until this Bomb Tower gets a little bit lower in health. So the Ram Rider still hanging out in the hand. The Night Witch and E-Wiz come across the board. Now we see Miner going to the right. No wall breakers to follow suit, though. Magic Archer does not go aggressive, because he's going to probably need it for defense instead of putting it on top of that Battle Healer trying to get some damage. Late Bomb Tower, really nice there. Magic Archer going to stay alive, take off the Valkyrie. Bomb Tower goes down, and now another unit needs to be played, so a defensive Miner comes out for Nacho, which is not ideal considering the Miner really is his best source of damage right now, since he's not able to get those wall breakers through. Maybe a high Valkyrie. Nice fireball there. Wallbreaker's going to go on through, but nothing to tank for him, so an easy bar barrel from Marcos. Nacho having a really, really hard time putting anything together right now. Bomb Tower going to need to get some skeletons down to soak up that Bandit charge. There's the Valkyrie late. Magic Archer lined up now finally for Nacho. Does get a couple shots in. Not able to get any more in on the tower. Would be really nice to have that Magic Archer to line up against the Battle Healer. Valkyrie being played up high. I'm wondering if the Valkyries are being played a little bit too high by Nacho, but maybe I'm just crazy. Skeletons played to soak up this charge from that Bandit. Now can ignore this Ram Rider. Should not connect. Still having a lot of difficulty breaking on through, but you see now Marcos starting to add up that chip damage from the Miner. A couple wall breakers able to get on through, and we're at 1047. Now down to 975. Miner up front. Poison in there as well. That's going to be some great poison value. All of those units should be pretty easily taken care of if the Magic Archer was going in the left lane. Instead, it's going to go off to the right, so Bomb Tower has to come down here. Miner in on the tower, does not hit 750 to 774, 695. It looks like Nacho will be able to steal this from Marcos. Marcos was doing so well for so long, but he got caught up playing defense. Now, I know that seems crazy because you have to play defense, but it really does seem like Marcos abandoned a little bit too much offensively in the last half of that game. Nacho able to come back with that Miner plus poison chip damage. Really, really well played, and that's one thing that you want to make sure to never do when you're using that deck. That deck can really come back at any time, right? You get one Miner plus wall breakers to connect, and all of a sudden you find your opponent in a really, really rough spot. Now, that's not really what happened there. It was more so the incessant Miner chip damage plus those poisons at the end of the game, and then some really, really clean defense being played by Nacho breaking things up, making sure those Ram Riders never connect to the tower, making sure the bandits never connect to the bomb tower. All that stuff in sequence was really, really well played. I'm going to hop over to this for just a second. I'm going to fix my lighting. All right. See some of those stats coming out. 10 miners coming on through. 7 poisons. It's a lot of poison damage. It was a really, really well played game by both of these guys. And, you know, Nacho did not disappoint. It looked like he was not going to have it there early on, but he definitely did not disappoint. I think he recognized that those wall breakers were going to be used more as a distraction throughout the game than actually being able to get damage on the tower. And you see there 24 elixir spent on buildings, able to get down 6 bomb towers to keep those Ram Riders from connecting. And only 2 tornadoes used, which is interesting, right? Because tornado can be one of those cards that's so strong. You line everything up. You can get so much good damage in with your magic archer. You can lump everything into the poison. You can pull it all towards your Valkyrie, or you can even pull stuff opposite lane. But on the other side of that, using your tornadoes carelessly or ineffectively can sometimes just be a waste of 3 elixir. So Nacho did the correct thing, only used a couple there, and did very, very well. So here we go. 1v1, game number 2. Minor snowball for Marcos on that left-hand tower. The other side of it, we got a bar barrel plus skellies. Try to get some damage in. Squeeze some damage in. So, mini P.E.K.K.A coming out. Distracting that Valkyrie with those skellies. A lot of mini P.E.K.K.A to be completely full on health. Look at that. The NATO comes in. We were just talking about NATO. Great use of the NATO to pull the Magic Archer into the mini P.E.K.K.A and clean up the bats. I don't think he was anticipating the bats there, but that was really, really nice. You see Royal Giant. There it is. Royal Giant Earthquake. This is going to be a lot of damage for Marcos to deal with. Valkyrie does come down just a little bit late, but the tower's already slowed, and the Royal Giant is already on tower. A lot of damage comes in, down to 11-10 in the top left-hand side, but how will he defend here against these wall breakers plus? Ooh, not what you want to see there. A lot of elixir spent, but not doing the job that he needed. So we got a very, very strong deck here from Nacho in the sense of defense and then being able to turn stuff around and just put down 6 elixir plus that Earthquake for offense. The other side of it, we know this deck from Marcos very well. It's tried and true. It's very, very popular. Doesn't have the NATO to line things up. It does have the bomb tower to help. The problem is a lot of his highest DPS troops are swarm units, so you know, the Baby Dragon plus the Ice Wizard can clean up all the bats and goblins with the help of the NATO. So we're looking for a lot of damage on the Royal Giants from Valkyries and bomb towers, which is not really that ideal. So there you go. Earthquake coming out. Royal Giant coming on through. Royal Giant will get 1 shot minimum. 2 shots, it looks like. Does get that second shot off. 6:02 remains, and another Royal Giant comes down. This is a bad spot for Marcos to be in. This cycle is so quick in double elixir time. It is insane what an Earthquake plus Skeletons plus a Barbara will do, and then, of course, getting back down those troops to help on defense with Ice Wiz and the Baby Dragon. You don't even recognize that your opponent is cycled so quickly around because it feels like they're defending, but before you know it, they are back to that very, very strong Royal Giant. Some nice Skeletons up high. I don't know if it was anticipating that Magic Archer, but it worked against the Magic Archer. So 757, 693, 629, bottom left, 565, but at the top of your screen, that is going to do it. And just like that, we see a 2-set sweep from Chile, and Nacho is essentially undefeated. He is, right? Right? I don't think he's lost a game yet. I think he went 2-0, as I said before. Yeah, he went 2-0 in his first 1v1 set, 3-0 in King of the Hill, and now again 2-0 here against Uruguay. So that's it. That's going to do it. Chile comes out, dominates, plays very, very well. Really, really nice matchup in that last game. But this kid, this guy, whoever he is, this human being, this alien, Nacho, making a name for himself. And I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited to see him play a little bit more. You know, Rich was saying earlier in the chat that if Chile takes this, they're going to kind of secure that number 2 spot. It does really feel that way. It does seem like that's going to be it. It feels like it's going to be Brazil and Chile in this group that are going to be the teams to reckon with, the teams to be reckoned with, I should say. And there it is in the chat. He confirms it, 7-0. That's 2-0 in both 1v1 sets, 3-0 in King of the Hill. And right now, Chile's got to be so very happy that they have this young all-star, superstar, up-and-comer on their squad. I don't know what you want to call him, but that is very, very well played. It says he's saying right here, Chile probably clinched top 2 and the bracket. So this Group H is very, very strong between Chile and Brazil. I'm really, really excited to see more of this as it goes on. It sounds like Rich will be here for some of the casting tomorrow. I think Full Frontage might be doing some more of the casting, maybe the first half of the day, and Rich will be doing the second half of the day. I'll be back, I think, on Friday, and then I'll be back again next Tuesday to help close things out here. And yeah, I really appreciate you guys being here. I really appreciate you supporting NTWorlds. Again, go give Rich Slayton some love on Twitter. Go give Koji and Manu some love on Twitter. Let them know that you're enjoying what they put together here. I mean, this is literally the World Cup of Clash Royale. This is something that we've all talked about for a really, really long time, and those two gentlemen made it happen. And yeah, I'm in my bedroom. I am. This guy is in his bedroom because this is where I live. This is where I live. So, you know, I apologize. If you don't want to see me hanging out in my bedroom while casting matches. But don't worry. I'll be back for CRL 2020 very, very soon. Rich and I will be back at the desk for CRL 2020 in just a little bit. I can't wait. So there you go. On the screen right there. Tied at 6. Brazil 2-0. Chile 2-0. 6 points each. Costa Rica and Uruguay not able to get in a win, unfortunately. They're struggling. They're struggling. Again, my biggest question is who's gonna take down Brazil? That's what I want to know. They seem to be one of the biggest, most knockout squads in the entire event. Again, you got 4 CRL veterans on the squad. So I appreciate you guys being here. I'm gonna look really quickly at the matches that are coming up tomorrow so I can fill you in so you guys know what's going on. Starting tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, 7 a.m. Pacific. We're going to see South Korea going up against Russia. Then we have China and Taiwan. Following that will be France going up against Romania. And to close out the day tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Time will be the UK and Serbia. So I appreciate you guys being here. I hope you had a great time. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Let everyone know down below in the comments what you thought about it, how you felt about the matches, who were your biggest standouts of the day, what were your favorite decks. Let us know down below in the comments. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'm Andrew Guy. You can follow me at Andrew Guy on Twitter. You can check me out on YouTube. I don't put out a lot of content out there, so maybe go follow my boy Rich Slayton instead on YouTube. He's putting out tons and tons of great content, very highly edited and produced content, so go and give him some love. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you for watching, and yeah, I guess I'll see you guys on Friday. Bye.